There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We've had a fantastic season thus far, and now we head to Miles the Monsters Playground, Dover Motor Speedway. Of course, last week we were at Talladega, and definitely was an exciting event last week. Of course, we saw a ton of wrecks and things like that, a lot of beaten and battered race cars, and I think we're going to see a lot of that here tonight at Dover. Miles is hungry, and I think hungry for some race car destruction. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. Big Al, of course, is going to be joining me as my co-commentator here tonight. We also have in-race, not an in-race reporter, I should say, a driver analyst, I should say. JC Evans is going to be joining us this week. Big Al, first of all, how are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, Brian. I just can't believe we're finally back here at Dover, man. This is going to cause a lot of people to have headaches, man. A lot of things we got to watch out for tonight, and I'm going to tell you what, you better stay tuned if you're at home because you don't want to miss a thing.
Oh, that's 100%. JC, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. You're myself, Brian. How about you?
Oh, doing fine. All righty, now that we've kind of introduced everybody, let's take a look at the details of the event here tonight. Of course, 250 miles, 250 laps. Of course, this is a mile racetrack, considering why they named this is the Monster Mile, Miles the Monster. So it makes sense. This is a mile racetrack. Of course, stages will be 50 and 115. So, of course, the checker or the yellow flag should come out at around the start of lap 51 and the start of lap 116. And, of course, the checkered flag will come out at the completion of lap 250. 7 sets of tires altogether here, 6 actually down in the pits. Fuel window is 93 laps. Now, I want to take a little bit of a back step right quick and go back to those tires. Now, this is something that we all know is going to be probably the most valuable resource at Dover. Tires.
Yeah,
JC,
really.
I mean, I know you're not going to be racing here tonight, but I mean, I'm sure you've turned some laps here this week. Tell us how the tire wear is at Dover.
Oh, the tire wear is atrocious if you drive the car too hard. Of course, I'm usually one of those that do that, so I'm always wanting another set of tires about after 30 laps. Others will say about 50.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough day on tires for sure. And I think that Dover is such a banked track. Downforce is going to be aplenty, I'd say, when it comes to the speed you can carry through these corners. But I think in a lot of ways you don't want to carry too much speed. You kind of want to back off and run a little bit more conservatively to kind of save the tire. And I think one thing that's going to be huge, Big Al, is going to be limiting the movement of your steering wheel and really just doing a lot of the, I'd say, the inputs being your gas and brake pedal.
Yeah, 100%, Brian. That means these drivers are going to have to be very cognizant and hit their entry points. That's where they're going to want to actually start braking before you get to the turn, because like you said, you don't want to turn that wheel. The more you turn in the wheel, the more you're actually wearing that right front tire out. And tires are going to be a precious commodity. Drivers are going to have to really make sure that they're saving their resources, Brian, because when you get down to the end of this thing, I'm telling you, you want to have the freshest set of good years you can when it counts, and I think that's what we're going to see here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the driver that's probably going to end up taking that checkered flag home. It's the driver that is the best on the long run. Of course, downforce is going to be incredibly important here tonight, of course, with this next-gen car, and because of this is a high-banked racetrack, concrete, so definitely going to be all about downforce. I think qualifying position is going to be important. We'll see how that kind of plays out. Let's take a look at the point situation coming into tonight's race after Talladega last week. Of course, big bad Talladega definitely probably played some havoc on the points and definitely did. Matt DeCiani at the top of the board now, of course, able to win at Talladega with his Team Conti driver friends pushing him. It was a spectacular finish. Now, of course, DeCiani only has a 2-point lead at the moment on teammate Patrick Gitter. Very big resurgence here from Patrick Gitter and DeCiani. Of course, Brian Johnson, he's in third place right now, 10 points behind our points leader. Derek Heitman, who was the points leader, is now back in fourth place. Of course, if we recall, he had an incident, I do believe, towards the end of the event at Talladega last week that caused him to plummet down the leaderboard. Of course, he sits in fourth. Randy Mullins is in fifth. Brandon Pasalacqua, he's in sixth place. Abner Acosta's in seventh. Miller Bonds, eighth. Chris Johnson in ninth. And Josh Schaffner, of course, rounds out our top 10. But it was a very dramatic week last week at Talladega. And I think this is going to be a dramatic one here as well. I think I think there's a lot of potential, guys, for us to destroy race cars at this track. I mean, you see how the banking changes on the exit of these corners is so dramatic, and you could easily lose it. You could also easily get sent up into the outside wall or hit the inside wall. There are walls all over the place here.
No shortage of walls, Brian. Definitely plenty of places to have an accident, and we're just, I mean, what is the over-under on accidents this week?
That's a good question. It's something I didn't really give a lot of thought to. I don't know. I feel like when we get a long enough run or when we get spread out, I think it's going to be probably some green flag running for quite a while. But I'm going to say 2 cautions tonight.
Ooh, 2 cautions, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Brian's putting up. So write it down, keep a count, and we'll see how close he comes. I'm gonna say 3.
3? What about you, JC? What you got?
I said it 4.
4. Okay, so 2, 3, 4.
All right.
What's our producer think? 6. Our producer's saying 6.
Wow,
he is definitely very pessimistic about the drivers here tonight. But definitely qualifying wrapping up here. Looks like I do believe you see Greg Wachinski on our screen right now trying to get himself a qualifying lap in. But let's go ahead and take this opportunity. We'll play our national anthem, we'll play some commercials, and we'll come back with our starting grid. Stick with us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallinVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series, as we are, of course, at the Monster Mile, Dover Motor Speedway, as everybody, I do believe, has pretty much gotten gridded up here for this evening's action. We'll go ahead and go through the starting grid. And, of course, Patrick Gitter earns the pole here at Dover after, I do believe, finishing second place last week at Talladega. Of course, he's going to be starting on the pole. Very big deal here. Miller Bonds has had very fantastic qualifying so far this season. He's going to be starting in second place. Josh Schaffner, very good qualifying effort here tonight. He's going to be starting third. Abner Acosta was very fast in practice. He's going to be starting in fourth. Derek Heitman starts fifth. Brandon Passalacqua is going to be qualified in the sixth place position. Jeremy Sumter is going to be starting seventh. Matt DeCiani, last week's winner at Talladega, is going to be starting in eighth. Kyle Holden, who of course was involved in some of the drama last week that involved with Derek Heitman, he's going to be starting ninth. 10th place, Brian Johnson. 11th place going to be Randy Mullins. 12th place, Alex Murray. 13th, Andrew Griesbaum. 14th, Frank Flores. Kenny Powell's going to be starting in 15th.
16th place going to be Jay Home. 17th place is going to be Randy Belt. Tim Whitman comes in at 18th. Mark Sanchez starting in 19th. Darren Mullins starting in 20th, with Blair Holloman starting in 21st.
Greg Wyszynski. Greg Wyszynski be 22nd. Matthew Sissa be 23rd. Alexander Carr 24th. Jai Schultz 25th. Randy Drumhiller 26th. David Santini 27th. John Bender 28th. Barry Stevens 29th. Derek Jacobson 30th. Then we got Greg Carr 31st. And Jeffrey Ford rounds out the 32 car field.
Alrighty, definitely excited to get this underway. Now, I got to mention once again, of course, the ISCA is seeing probably one of the most successful seasons that we've ever had. I mean, every week, no matter what racetrack we're at, guys, we're seeing 30 cars. I mean, that's amazing, I got to say. It looks like everybody is starting to roll here, and definitely, I'm on the edge of my seat with anticipation here. 250 laps, 250 miles here at Dover. Who's going to come out on the top spot? I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, that's the reason why I got to run every single one of these laps, Brian, before we can officially put this one in the books. And I'm telling you, tracks like Dover, I truly believe each one of those laps is going to be action-packed. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
No, I totally agree. I think it's all going to be action-packed here as we get ready to have that pace car dip down pit road. And want to talk about pit road a little bit here. Of course, if these guys end up having to do a green flag pit stop at this racetrack, it's going to be quite difficult. The banking change is significant, and we could see accidents based on that. As here comes the pace car down pit road. Field in the hands now of Patrick Gitter. Of course, Barney, the flag man, has the green flag in hand, and he waves it as they go through the Geico restart zone. And we are up and underway. Patrick Gitter up and through the gears, and what a good restart for Miller Bonds. Able to really keep up with Gitter, stays side by side into one, but of course looks like Gitter is able to separate and secure the lead. Big attack though comes from Abner Acosta. Acosta jumps to the inside, up 12 into turn 3.
Not wanting to waste any time, Abner Acosta trying to go ahead and at least establish a bid for the lead. Abner's going to be here, and I think tonight he's going to be trying to do everything he can to get up front early, Brian. We got a lot of teams here showing up, so I think that's one thing we're going to have to keep in mind as well. You got to have a dance partner.
Yeah, and Abner Acosta, of course, kind of a lone gunman, if you will. I mean, kind of always been an independent driver, except for whenever his brother was in the series, Jose Acosta. Miller Bonds, of course, was able to defend against a charge from Abner, and of course, has secured second. Now Acosta is going to be under fire from Brandon Passalacqua. One thing about this racetrack is the first 5 laps of competition are going to be incredibly important to the tire life of the run. Did Abner maybe overheat his tires, JC?
No, I don't think he did. It was just he tried to make a pass, and it's hard making passes on the inside line if you have a car to your outside because you cannot get back to the throttle or else you're going to slide up to the car onto.
Yeah, that's one thing about this racetrack, of course. There's only essentially one groove. I mean, even though, yes, you could probably take alternate lines through the corner, you do end up having to slide up to the wall. And you really don't want to take a narrow exit at this racetrack because you could easily as well spin the race car out. Very easy to do when you take narrow exits. As you see that battle, of course, still raging for that second place position. What a great view off of the roof of Abner Acosta. You can see, of course, I do believe Brandon Pasalacqua. He has got a lot of fire under the hood of that race car. Very quick in the sit.
Yeah, and we knew that was going to happen, man. There's a couple of teams that show up every week, and they're going to be there week in and week out, and they're going to show up and they're going to try to either preserve their position in the points or carve a new spot in the points. So top 10 guys that are in the points all running pretty solid here tonight. I think the majority of them were actually in the top 20. So, I mean, points do matter.
No, 100%. Of course, these stage points are incredibly valuable. And, of course, we got some battling now for the lead. Brandon Pasalacqua taking the high side. JC said, you mentioned before the race, you said that would we see this higher line kind of work? And Brandon's showing that, yes, if you want to pass, this might be the way to go because you're able to kind of get that exit speed.
Yes, and that's what this track brings is if you can make a pass on the outside, it's just I don't know like what that will do to your tires in a longer run if you do it too often, too early.
Well, last time by, Brandon Pasalacqua was the fastest car on the racetrack, 23.345 versus the driver behind him was about 0.2 slower than that. Is Pasalacqua overcooking the tires? I think that's definitely a question for sure. As we see Miller Bonds getting caught by Abner Acosta. Of course, John Schaffner staying in fifth. Seems like he is kind of keeping his head down. Now, Josh Schaffner is the Iceman. I do suspect he's probably going to be just hanging out in fifth, not really wanting to burn his tires up, but he might be under fire sooner rather than later as you see Derek Heitman, the 76, starting to stalk his prey.
But you also understand, too, that first 50 laps, you really got to go out there and just kind of beat it up. You got to see, in terms of the tires, you really got to put it through its paces so you can kind of get an idea of how hard or not hard you're going to push it come that third and final sector.
That's 100% fact. I definitely totally agree with you. This is the time to experiment. As I do believe we see Tim Wortman Jr. with some issues further back. That's the 83. I think he might have gotten into the wall or something like that. It looks like a green flag is still flying, but I think he is under fire, losing positions. Frank Flores just got by him and took that 16th position from him. So we do have some drivers maybe starting to suffer from some handling woes. But I agree totally. This is the time to experiment. Of course, your experimentation should not involve hitting the wall, but your experimentation should definitely involve trying to get some data on those tires. One thing I'm noticing, though, is Brandon Pasalacqua, once he got the lead, he has started to pull away, and he has not slowed down after we've, of course, completed 12 laps here. He's been about 0.2 off of his original pace, so incredibly fast laps that Pasalacqua is still turning. He's now over a second ahead of Patrick Gitter. I don't know if I like creating gaps at a track like Dover, but he does have the clean air.
And that's going to make the biggest difference of all. It's clean air. So the biggest question he's going to see is how much is he going to risk to keep it?
And here we go, attack for third place. Abner Acosta to the inside of the 12 of Miller Bonds. These guys have been racing since the green flag dropped. You can see the 12 and the 55 have been after each other all night long so far. Derek Heitman now under fire. Actually, that's Josh Schaffner under fire by Jeremy Sumter. Of course, Sumter, who started, I do believe, in the 7th place position, now going after 6th. And this is when we're starting to see, I think drivers really starting to get that rhythm down here. Dover is very much a rhythm racetrack. And it looks like I do believe Sumter did actually take the position. He's up to 6th place now. We also see Randy Mullins. I do believe just got by Kyle Holden. Kyle Holden having some issues. He's getting passed by Kenny Powell at the moment as well. Powell getting really close to the wall. He's almost powed the wall. Guys, I want to point to the drop of fall off here. I mean, I'm seeing 24-second laps from everybody 10th on back at the moment. And I'm thinking some drivers maybe have burned their equipment up a little bit more than they probably intended to. Alex Murray, though, trying to climb his way through the field.
Yeah, today is one of those days where you're actually going to be able to tell, you're going to tell who actually cheated, who didn't save, and guys are going to learn that lesson because that's what you're trying to do.
And we're watching the 22, Alex Murray. Of course, he's a new driver to the series. Wasn't here last week at Talladega, but I do believe he was here the week before and showed significant speed, was even in the running for the win. Now, I know Alex personally and definitely is an incredibly fast driver with the Prodigy Esports team. I do believe they're associated with Team Conti. So definitely they have, I do believe, the same speed under the hood as Patrick Gitter and, of course, Matt DeCiani and Derek Heitman. So expect that 22 to have a ton of speed here tonight. As he, of course, is under fire, or trying to fight with Kenny Powell. I do believe we saw a move there. Abner Acosta trying to make something happen as Josh Schaffner in the midst of a battle as well with Matt DeCiani. That's for the 7th place position. DeCiani tries to go to the inside of Schaffner. Schaffner, I think, is just trying to take it easy, and everybody around him is saying, no, I'm trying to get past you. And here we go to the inside once again. Goes Matt DeCiani. And this is kind of what Schaffner's known for. Schaffner doesn't try to push the race car. And you can't really blame him. I mean, he's always been known for that long run speed. And do you think that's what's going on here, JC?
I feel like... Out. Yeah, we'll get back to that.
Out, Blair Holloman, I do believe, in the 10 machine. I see he drops all the way down to the edge of the field. I think the 10... I think it might have been the 10 or the 25 of Greg Carr. And I think we have possibly what happened here dialed up. Let's see exactly what happened. And it looks like it is the 10. Yeah, the 10 involved with John Bender here. I think, let's see exactly. It looks like he was trying to avoid something that was ahead of him. He may have reacted poorly. No, it looks like he might have been slowing down because of the side-by-side action in front of him. And unfortunately, Bender just did not get the memo and kind of sent the 10 around. Luckily, I don't think we saw a big hit from Blair Holloman. I don't think he really hit the wall very hard here.
Part of it, too, with Blair, he was being on the outside line, so he probably could not get to the gas without putting too much wheel into it. And I think John just didn't realize he was going to slow down that much.
Yeah, 100%. And, very difficult to predict at this racetrack. Now, one thing I find really interesting, of course, is that everybody's now down pit road. We're seeing everybody take tires. I think this shows just how valuable the tires are. We already had seen over a half a second of fall off.
So I think right now that is exactly telling us what we need to know, and that is Dover is continuously eating tires like we thought it was, but it's having quite an impact if pretty much the entire field is electing to come down right now. It's not for fuel, I'll tell you that.
No, definitely not. I do want to mention as well that the top 9 have elected to stay out. Brandon Pastelacqua, who was the leader at the time of the caution, has elected to stay out. Of course, now, never mind, Randy Belk. He just took a last-minute decision, and Frank Flores, both, I think Randy Belk, and Frank Flores, both electing to come down pit road here, as well as, I do believe, I think that's Kyle Holden possibly, Josh Schultz, I do believe. So some last-second decisions. Now, that's not – I don't really like a last-second decision like that. That's going to cost a lot of track position. But I mean, it looks like they are taking some tires here. So I guess a little bit of a buyer's remorse in their decision to stay out. But, of course, we do have some drivers that have committed to it. The top 5 at the moment, Brandon Pastelacqua, Brian Johnson, Tim Wortman Jr., Matthew Cisna, David Centeni, have all elected to stay out. They are on, I do believe, 23-lap old tires at the moment. And I think this is going to be, we talked about how important tires are. I think this is going to be dramatic, the difference that we're going to see here. Abner Acosta, first driver on new tires. I think this is probably, depending on how this restart goes, this is going to give Abner the lead, possibly, if Jeremy doesn't pounce first.
It definitely should, like with the speed differential between new and used tires. And also another thing you gotta watch out for, especially being the leader too, and everybody else that did not pit, is the possibility of tire spin.
No, I 100% agree with you, especially at this track. I mean, this track burns them up quite significantly, and I think this track's also just known for wheel spin. So I would not be surprised that we see that. But I mean, I respect the call for these top 5 drivers to stay out. I think this is a worthy gamble when it comes to saving that set, JC. I mean, I think that if we do end up having a run of cautions later in this race, having that extra set in the bank is going to be like gold.
Oh yeah, it will definitely help you in the long run of this race if like this race ends up being a lot of cautions like this.
And of course, it has been pretty green thus far. We had our first caution, I do believe, after lap 20, as we're getting ready to go back green once again. Brandon Pastelacqua going to be starting on 20-plus lap-old tires. Hopefully, he doesn't have any wheel spin. We'll have to see. This is going to be, I think, I know I've used the word quite a lot tonight, but dramatic. I think it's going to be dramatic, this top 5, how they're going to fall back like a bunch of anchors, I do believe. Now, Pastelacqua might hold on to his position for a while just because of the clean air. We'll see how this plays out. Pace car has dipped down pit road. We're getting ready to enter the Geico restart zone. And here it is, green flag, out and underway as you see Pastelacqua. No trouble there, did not get really spinny. I will tell you, though, I do believe Matthew Cisna didn't really get going, or David Centeni. Seemed like they were a little bit nervous, I'd say, but it looks like they have held on to their position so far. Here comes Abner Acosta on the new tires, sailing right around Centeni on the top. Jeremy Sumter, bad luck, got stuck behind Centeni. And you, of course, see some other drivers in the midst of battling, I do believe, trying to work their way through the field. Tim Wortman Jr., I do believe, just got passed by Cisna. Cisna working his way up to 3rd. Abner Acosta, though, up to 4th. We look at the choke point right now. We have 4th on back, or 3rd on back. This is like the 2 leaders are driving away. Oh, into the wall goes Cisna.
Yeah, every time you have like mixed strategies like this kind of racing you get, you're going to get like a lot of bunched up racing, sometimes even 3 wide at tracks that you don't want to be 3 wide.
Yeah, this is not the track to be 3 wide. That is for sure. As here comes Patrick Gitter trying to get around Matthew Cisna. Cisna, of course, I don't think he got too much damage on that right side, but you definitely don't want to play any games here at Dover. This is a track that's very easy to break your toe length. Of course, we see Alex Murray getting up into 7th place. First time he's been in the top 10. Oh, well, there goes the problem. As I do believe Tim Wortman Jr. just smacked the wall and then smacks Kenny Powell. We stayed green. I don't know if we can get an eye on what just happened there. Yellow flag is out. And it looks like I do believe this is we're going to be wanting to watch Tim Wortman Jr. And then I do believe we're going to want to watch Kenny Powell. Of course, that is the 83 and the 24. So let's take a look. Of course, we're looking at the 83 here. And, of course, this is the caution is already out at this point, so we're going to have to go back a little bit further and find out exactly when. You can see this is kind of when things go wrong. You talked about 3 wide, JC. You talked about 3 wide, and this is exactly what caused this accident. You see, of course, Tim Wortman Jr.'s up top. He goes all the way up to the racetrack, into the marbles. And you could see that there was no grip up there in those marbles. 3 wide. And who's that on the bottom there? If that's the 54 of Randy Mullins.
Yeah, that's not going to do Randy any favors, man, because he's trying to preserve his points position as well. Because I do believe Randy is in the top 10.
Yeah, he is.
On the points, yeah. So, not the place that you want to be messing around, especially not in the first segment,
View from Kenny Powell. Powell just kind of stuck in no man's land in a place you don't want to be, in between a rock and a hard place, essentially, in between Miles and the wall. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Kenny Powell. Of course, he's another driver that really needs as many points as he can get. We've known he's been plagued by a ton of misfortune this season. Wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime that you're this late in the season and you're not mentioning Kenny Powell's name, he's not even in the top 10. It's almost like, where's Kenny? South Park said they killed Kenny, and I don't know, Kenny needs to rekindle his spirits and get them moving. I was just thinking about that before the race started. There's a lot of drivers' names that we would usually just be blasting, but for whatever reason, some of these guys are missing in action, or maybe it's just the action that's missing.
Well, Brandon Pasalacqua and Brian Johnson really, I think they played the strategy right. We see Josh Schultz, some heavy damage to that right front. And, of course, he's trying to get that fixed. He barely gets out of pit road in time. But Brandon Pasalacqua and Brian Johnson, two Paradigm drivers who elected to stay out on the older tires, were able to hold on to that first and second position. So you got to give them some credit. I don't know if that's going to be the case this time around, though, because Abner is going to be right on their back ends, chomping right at their back bumpers. We'll see, though, but definitely got to give it to them. They're able to hold on to those top two spots. That caution really helped them. As, of course, the top two are the only drivers, I think, on the older tires that are in the top five. Matthew Cisna, who was, I do believe, the next driver on the old tires, he fell to 9th place. Now we have, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have ourselves a less than 20-lap shootout for the completion of stage number 1. Definitely been an exciting show thus far. I'd say it's been, definitely say it's been entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
I do want to say, I said 2 cautions, didn't I? I do believe.
Yeah, you did.
I think we just hit that already. We've already hit it.
Looks like the producer's going to be correct on this, right?
It might be 6. I think you might be right.
Yeah, but everybody is, and it's interesting. We still got a couple of drivers that haven't pitted yet, and that's just going to show that hey, if this thing stays under caution like it does, they won't need the tires anyway, and that's going to give them an extra set at the end of this.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a fact. And if we just stay...
How many drivers do you think are actually going to come in at the end of the stage and actually not change tires? You're going to have to, Brian. I mean, there's no way you're going to go back out into the next stage without freshies.
Well, especially because stage 2 is even longer than stage 1. I mean, stage 2 ends on lap 115 going to 116. This one, of course, was a 50-lap stage. That one's going to be a 65-lap stage.
Yeah, so kudos to those that made the call. I think that's the right call. Petstar's down in a way. We're going to be hitting that Geico restart zone and getting ready to go back green flag racing.
And there it is. Green flag's back out in the air. A little bit of wheel spin there from Brian Johnson. He's able to keep it going straight, though. As, of course, Brandon Pasalacqua in control of the race right now. Abner Costa under fire from Miller Bonds and Matt DeCiani at the moment. Of course, Matt DeCiani is still very fast from last week, or should I say utilizing that momentum he has from last week's win at Talladega. We're almost on 3 wide territory here as everybody's trying to get by Brian Johnson. Oh! Into the wall goes Patrick Gitter. This is almost 4 wide here heading into 1.
And you can do that, but you're going to have to get back in line before you go down the next backstretch. So 4 wide's that's pretty risque, I think you'd say, for Dover, especially in the first stage.
Bold, I'd say, would be a good word to describe
it
as well.
We're here for it, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
JC, do you wish you were back down there tonight mixing it up with the big boys?
What's that, the Big Al?
So do you wish that you were down there instead of up here with us?
Oh, no doubt. This track is fun to race at. It's a lot of action and hard to pass, and it's a driver's track. You got to be so precise with everything, the throttle, like a little bit of brakes, even your steering to get around this place.
Alex Murray able to drive his way now up to 4th place. We see a battle, I do believe, right now between Miller Bonds, Patrick Gitter, and I do believe Jeremy Sumter. That's for 5th, 6th. I do believe. You also see Brandon Pasalacqua starting to drop down through the field on the older tires here. He's just trying to hang on as he goes up the racetrack. You can tell that handling of that race car has started to go away here as Sumter tries to clear him.
And that's definitely going to give us a little bit of a sneak peek as far as what to expect, especially once we go into stage 2, the longer stage. A lot of drivers couldn't make it through this stage. They've already pitted. That just tells us that the degradation of these tires is going to be their primary concern here tonight, guys.
Yeah, no, degradation of tire is going to be the concern. And I think that's going to play to the strategies, though. I mean, even though we're seeing Pasalacqua drop through the field like a rock right now, you know, at some point, it's going to pay off. I think there's going to be some sort of reward for him not taking tires. I mean, because like you said, Big Al, at the end of this stage, everybody's going to be taking tires. And you know, Brandon's going to have one more than everybody else. Same thing with Brian Johnson. I think that's going to be a huge win for those drivers, because especially like if the cautions keep falling like they are, it's going to be incredible.
But what is the cost, though? The cost is going to cost them stage points. So they're giving up. Right. You know, they're taking that set of top, and all of these guys are in the points chase. They're all in the top 10. So points matter. That's how they got there. But they're going to actually give up these points tonight in actually hopes, the 21 car makes a brush with the wall. I think a lot of guys are going to be doing that tonight. You just hope that you don't hit it so hard that you break that toe link.
Yeah, I think we're looking a little bit further back as well. I think I saw Matthew Cisna kind of having some issues there. We see, of course, Patrick Gitter battling with Jeremy Sumter. Of course, in front of him is Miller Bonds, goes way wide. No, I think everything has a cost. I think you're exactly right, Big Al. And I think that, you know, the stage points are so valuable. And in a lot of ways, they're trading those stage points in to have, I guess, an overall better race. But we've seen those stage points can sometimes be more valuable than the race win itself. I think a lot of times it is.
110%. I mean, that's the reason why those stages are there. It gives drivers an opportunity to score points. And if you're not in the top 10, you don't get any. You know, you're just out there and you just race 10 laps for nothing or 50 laps for nothing. So, yeah, dang right, you want to be up there in the points and make some money.
I got to say, I'm really impressed with the speed we're seeing from Matt DeCiani, but it just seems like he's having a tough time getting something done on Abner. Abner just seems to be very, very difficult to pass, and that's not a surprise. I mean, Abner, we know him as a road course specialist. He's great at saving tires. He's great at being smooth, and he's very difficult to pass because he's fast. And so I think that Matt has got his hands full right now, and as well as Matt's got his hands full with Alex Murray, who's right behind him. And Murray is an incredibly talented driver with, I do believe, over 6,000 I rating. Would not be surprised that we see Alex come and tussle for a stage win here as we're coming up to, I do believe, 6 laps to go in stage one.
Yeah, that's...
Sorry, but what Matt's trying to do is he's trying to stay out of Abner's dirty air, and that's why he's moving around so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that before the race, while the dirty air and the downforce are going to be two things that were going to play a factor in this. When you guys were talking, I was just listening, and I think you're spot on with that because, I mean,
a little bit of a tag on the wall.
I'm always gonna pause for
Yeah, I just saw Alex Murray kind of tag the wall there. It was a light hit, but you're 100% right. I think that downforce, we talked about that before the race, and we just said how important that's going to be, especially in this next-gen car. I think that in other vehicles, there he goes again. Yeah. Alex Murray keeps hitting the wall out of turn 4.
He's wearing it out, and I'm going to tell you, it might not seem like that big of a hit. Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time. But you do that come 5-6 times, Brian, and you are going to find yourself having a problem.
Yeah, it's going to eventually, I think, knock that toe out of alignment, and it could cause that race car to just not handle quite as well. And that time, though, he was able to avoid doing it. But now he's going to be under fire possibly from Miller Bonds here as we're coming up, I do believe, to 2 laps to go in stage number 1. Now, Abner has started to pull away. Matt is under fire right now as the 22, even though he hit the wall, seems like he hasn't slowed down. And I think Alex is even getting a little bit frustrated hanging behind the 1 here. Here comes the 12 to the inside as we're 2 laps to go.
Man, 2 laps to go. This is, I mean, you gotta let all of your marbles just fall to the floor right now.
And here comes Alex to the inside, battling for second place. And he's going to sail right around the 1. I think the 1 probably, might have burned this stuff up trying to keep up with Abner there. Not sure, but it looks like Alex was able to take advantage of it. White flag out for stage number 1. Abner Acosta with a 0.4 of a second gap right now. as he is showing the field what to do here as he exits 3 and 4 for the final time of stage 1. And Abner Acosta will get the victory here and grab some awesome stage points. Yellow flag is out. And I do believe Abner is in the top 10 in the points. So this will be a very beneficial stage win here for him. Of course, Alex Murray.
Not so much for Brandon. Brandon and Brandon Passalacqua, Brian Johnson, they fell all the way back into the 20th place.
Yeah, Brandon's 12th, Brian Johnson 15th, so definitely going to hurt them. There are no stage points going to be given to them, but of course, Alex Murray finishes 2nd place, Matt DeCiani 3rd, Miller Bonds 4th, Patrick Gitter 5th, Derek Heitman 6th, Jeremy Sumter 7th, Kyle Holden 8th, Andrew Griezmann impressive 9th, Alexander Carr has been really consistent this season in 10th. Of course, we'll take a brief step away. We'll be right back, and we'll talk to our Stage 1 winner.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association race here at Dover Motor Speedway. We're going to go ahead and go right into our interview. We're not able to find Abner Acosta, so I've decided, actually, I was going to talk to Brandon Passalacqua, but I actually wouldn't mind having Alex Murray up here. Alex Murray, we got you up here in the booth. I know you finished 2nd place there in the stage, but it seemed like you had some speed possibly to win stage 1. How's the race car feeling?
Pretty good. The boys at TCSP put a good setup out this week, and looking to capitalize on it. So feeling pretty good right now. Just gotta keep it on one piece to the end.
Well, that's one thing we kind of noticed there. It seemed like you definitely had a lot of speed, but coming out of turn 4, we saw a couple times you kind of got into the wall. What are you going to do to try to avoid that in the future?
Stop being so dang hard-headed and lift.
I hear that, man. Dover's a track that, it's very easy, I guess, to be tempted to do that. But you have the lead here starting in stage 2. What's the plan here? Do you feel confident you're going to be able to hold on to it?
Nah, you'll see me go backwards. Tires are a big deal here. You'll see me start to go back forward after about 30. So probably drop back to about 5th, 6th, and then work my way forward again. But feeling pretty good, and can't thank everybody at TCSP and all my teammates for putting in the work this week.
All right, we definitely love having you in the league, that's for sure. Alex, it's definitely been great to talk to you again. Anybody else we can shout out before we let you get back to it?
I had No Kid Hungry, and like I said, everybody at TCSP, Phantom Sim Sports, and everybody watching. You guys for putting it on.
All right, Alex, thanks for your time.
Yep.
All righty, that was Alex Murray, driver of the 22 machine. Definitely glad to be able to chat with him for sure. And you see that race off pit road, he was able to get the lead from Abner Acosta. Now, he kind of said that he was going to drop back. Guys, I don't know if I want to drop back. We'll see how this plays out.
Well, he said he was going to drop back after 30 to maybe 5th or 6th and then come back up front. So I don't know, man.
I just think clean air is valuable.
I would love to be able to call my shots like that.
Well, I mean, Alex is a very talented driver, so it's not a surprise.
That's what I said. I would love to be able to call my shots like that.
Here
I
we
have
go.
no such luck.
Time to get back to business, though, is, of course, we're getting ready to start stage number 2. This stage will be completed on lap 115 going to 116. Now, of course, we did have 2 cautions, I do believe, in stage 1. Let's see what stage 2 holds for us. There'll be some surprises, I'm sure. Pace car has dipped down pit road. Alex Murray with the field in hand. As there it is, green flag, back out in the air
awesome
here.
start.
And it looks like a really good race restart there for Murray.
Yeah, man, way to bunch the field up. He waited right there till everybody was just ready to just pounce on it. Then he dictated and took off, gave him the launch that he needed because he's going to want to try to get some room between him and Abner Acosta, Brian, because these guys, you want to try to get that distance early because if you don't, it's going to be hard to gain that. Josh Shopler seems to be struggling just a little bit, so we're watching him come a bit back in the pack.
I love this camera angle off the back end of Alex Murray. Of course, as you see that battle for second place just going on right now, Abner Acosta in the midst of a battle with Miller Bonds. Now, Abner and Miller have been battling all race long. This is not a first instance of these two going to battle, as, of course, they are side-by-side for second place. But it looks like Abner kind of on that higher side. I'm wondering, what is his thoughts, you think, right now, JC? Do you think he wants to get down? Do you think he's just wanting to defend against this challenge, or do you think he's going for the lead?
Well, he's first trying to just get in front of Miller Bonds, but then, like, now he just got to the lead, so it worked out 2-for-1 special for him.
Yeah, definitely worked out well. I thought he was just maybe like in a bad spot, kind of being on that top side, hurts your tires a little bit, I'd say. But he was like, well, if I'm going to be up here, I might as well take the lead. And there he goes. I mean, Abner's quick enough. I think he's good at saving tires, too. So I would not be surprised that Abner might be able to hold on to this. We'll have to see. He does have the clean air, and clean air does lead to saving a little bit of that equipment. But I definitely think Miller has eyes for possibly second place as he gets a huge run to the inside of Murray here. And Murray did call his shot. He said that I'm going to drop back, and here he's dropping back right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that kind of worked out in his favor is when Abner and Miller Bonds were actually going at it. Now, it might not have seemed like much, but any dueling you're doing here earlier on is going to be detrimental to your whole purpose here a little bit later on. So we'll be watching to see, especially if there's no cautions, man, we're going to see just how much these tires are going to fall off for us.
I'll tell you one driver that is absolutely scooting through the field right now, Brandon Pasalacqua and Josh Ogner, actually. Both of them hitting some of their fastest laps of the race last time by. Pasalacqua, of course, we saw him on a little bit of a different strategy than everybody else in that last stage, was able to save a set of tires. He's up in the top 5 again now, and if it stays green, I think he'll get him a good stage finish, but he's been rocketing around that more top group. I don't think he's caring too much about saving tire right now, as he just got 4th place away from Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because I know that's my little whole catchphrase, exactly what will happen if the cautions do start to fly here in stage 2, because stage 1, it was all good till it wasn't. In stage 2, it's all good right now, but we know what's going to happen. We actually have a little bit of an account here to know when those tires are going to have to, when they're going to actually leave the show, and that's going to be what we're going to be talking about sooner than later.
I'm just shocked at how fast Brandon Pasalacqua is right now. I just don't think he's really in any sort of tire conservation mode at all, as he is just driving right by. He drove by Alex Murray. Josh Schopper's driving with him. This seems to be a paradigm kind of strategy here. But then again, Brian Johnson, the other paradigm driver, he's not really in the same strategy. He's kind of further back in 14th. Of course, he was the one that was on the same strategy as I do believe Pasalacqua. Here comes Pasalacqua to the inside of Bonds. Bonds just lets him go. No one seems to want to fight Brandon Pasalacqua because I think they know that he's burning his equipment up. And that's what I think, too.
I mean, why would you? I mean, this is one of those scenarios where you already know what has happened. So Brandon he's got a little something to prove. He's got to prove that his strategy during that last stage is going to pay off. And the only way it's going to pay off, Brian, is if he can make something happen, especially in stage 2, because I don't think he can afford to lose 2 stages with 0 points.
No, I think that actually might be a very good point there, Big Al. I think that, he didn't gain any stage points in stage 1. So it's like I can't not gain in stage 2. But he's got a long way to go. I mean, we still have, just under 50 laps left in stage 2.
Which is the length of stage 1. So my question, I guess, is what are they gonna do if the caution flies late? Do you think the guys that didn't take tires, you think they duplicate that and save a set, or you think they definitely know better and come on down here so they can have a chance, at least at the end of the stage, to make some money?
Well, I think if you're in like a Brandon Paslakwa's shoes, I think that's why he might be running so hard, that if a caution does come out, he has the, I guess, wiggle room to make an alternate strategy like, everybody did in stage 1. Now, he could win a stage just because everybody else is maybe not willing to take that set of tires like he was or wasn't last stage. So it's almost like yes, it cost me in stage 1, but it might benefit me in stage 2 because no one else is going to be willing because they've already taken that gamble and pitted one extra time in a stage, right?
And they already know now just how valuable tires are. That's going to be the one thing we're going to be talking about. The end of stage 2, the middle of stage 3, the end of the race. We're going to be talking about how tires dominated the headlines here at Dover. That's usually the case, but for whatever reason here tonight, Miles is just angry.
100%, and I do see some battling going on a little bit further back. I do believe Blair Holloman just lost a position to Patrick Gitter, and as well as just lost a position, I do believe, to Darren Mullins. We see a battle for the lead starting to brew. Brandon Paslakwa, of course, tackling or trying to attack the 55 of Abner Acosta, but Acosta not making it easy, and why would he? He knows that clean air is so valuable, and if he gives that up, it's going to be difficult. Of course, we see Derek Heitman. I think he's in the midst of a battle with Davidson Kenny as he goes side by side. That is for, of course, the 12th place position. We got battles all over this racetrack for sure, and I think I can see a little bit of front end damage to Heitman. Heitman's got a little bit of front end damage. That might explain why he's further back in the field. He was trying to get it fixed. Look at that. That is pretty pronounced.
Yeah, but this is one of those tracks where, I don't know, I'll ask JC. This will be a great question for you to field. Does the aero at a track like Dover, is it as important as it is, say, at a Daytona or Talladega? Or does this track just literally lend itself to more short track Bristol type tendencies?
This track, depending on how hard you hit, it can affect just the handling portion. And so, like Heitman's damage there, his car could possibly be a little more tighter than everybody else in the longer run. But it's like one of those things you have to wait and see. And it also depends on what your setup normally does.
Yeah, from what I've been hearing from most drivers this week, I know for a lot of the Team Watson guys, we've been hearing, that the cars get tighter as the run goes on. And I think that's been the same for probably most of the setup shops and builders this week. So I think the key here is to try to get it to be a little bit freer as the run goes on. So I think
the
that
27 to 27. Sorry about that, Brian. 27 actually finds himself coming down pit road.
Yeah, that is Derek Jacobs. He has come to pit road here, the 27, hitting in the middle of stage 2. Not sure exactly what happened here. Maybe the car just wasn't handling right for him.
He's taking the tires. I think that answers the question.
Yeah, and I do want to mention as well, Jai Schultz, the 58. We saw him with some heavy right front damage earlier. He's 2 laps down. Derek Jacobs now has gone 2 laps down, but at least Jai Schultz is still out here turning laps. I think he got a lot of that damage fixed. He's trying to work his way to get those laps back. And if we see some cautions later in this race, it's good that you don't quit. I think that shows a lot of heart and tenacity because, if you quit one of these races, there's no chance for you to recover, right? There's a lot of times that, if we have cautions and stuff like that, you can get right back into the show and possibly get some positions here and save your points situation for the season.
Especially, that lucky dog, man, will put you back into it. And, I have a hard time believing that we've seen the end of the cautions. I was just talking to Ralph. I was texting him because he was asking, "You think I could go get a cheese dog?" And I'm like, No, heck no, man. We need you sitting right there up in the booth. I don't think it's going to be one of those nights where you know, get to go smooch on Thelma Lou.
Yeah, Thelma Lou, unfortunately, is going to be not getting any smooches here tonight. We were kind of just watching a little bit of the racing down, I do believe, on the edge of the top 10. Tim Wortman Jr. Is in the midst. He was in the midst of a battle with Derek Heitman. I do believe we're seeing this battle there for the lead still heating up. Oh, Cisna into the outside wall a little bit there.
That's definitely
Very
going
big.
to.
Go ahead.
His car's going to need to see the dentist after that one because his front end's probably going to be out of alignment.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, Matthew says that this has been struggling a little bit here tonight in that race car. But not sure exactly what's going on here with the 11. Hopefully he's going to be able to get the ship righted here. Of course, you see he trying to hold on to it. And he, of course, was in 16th. So, but we're, you know, definitely happy to see him, a new addition to the series as well. So I know he's trying his best. You know, this is the big leagues. I mean, guys, JC, I'm sure you agree. When you show up in a race like this, you're not going against guys that are, you know, on the lower on the totem pole when it comes to iRacing talent.
Yeah, like I said a couple weeks ago, like this league is so deep. This is about the closest you can get to being like racing with the pros without racing pros.
100%. As I'm looking at Alex Murray right now, I'm looking at lap times. Lap time wise, Alex Murray last time by was the fastest car on the racetrack. Now, he kind of called that in his interview. He said that, hey, 30 plus laps into the run, that's when I'm going to start to shine. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. He's starting to drive his way closer and closer to the front. He's catching up to Miller Bonds. You see Bonds is kind of going up the racetrack a little bit here. But you can see that, of course, Murray is kind of wrapping around the bottom at the moment.
But yeah, this is one of those tracks where you're gonna have to, your strategy has got to last more than just a couple of laps. There's, you know, you're gonna have to have an extended play. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to be able to be good on the long run here at Dover. That's for sure. And but I do love that, you know, to see these different kind of lines. And one thing a lot of people don't realize about Dover is even though, you know, one side of the racetrack looks identical to the other, 1 and 2 looks pretty much identical to 3 and 4. They are different. Wouldn't you say, JC?
Yeah, both sides of the track are different. Turns 1 and 2, it's actually a little bit wider, especially coming off turn 2, where 3 and 4, it's like not as wide, and it makes the turn more tighter. So you actually put more wheel input off of 4 than you do off of 2.
Jeremy Sumter under a lot of fire right now. Of course, he tagged the wall there, and of course, I think he might have just got it a little bit again there. Of course, he's in the midst of a battle with Patrick Gitter.
You got to be careful, too.
Up.
You definitely have to be cognizant as well, because there's a little bump that you can get. Wow, nice touch. A little bump that you get coming out of turn 4 that if you don't hold your mouth just right, you could definitely find yourself spinning around.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's the banking change. You see some problems, I do believe. Josh Schaffner saw a little bit of smoke coming off that race car. He's going to lose some positions quick, fast, and in a hurry here. Matt Nisiani moves up to 5th. You see Patrick Gitter moves up to 6th. Sumter's able to take advantage of it as well. It looks like something just happened with Schaffner.
Yeah, I think he hit the wall. And that definitely impeded his progress a little bit, slowed him down.
Seeing a lot of fall off from every driver, though. Of course, we're seeing the fastest laps for most of these drivers are about 22.8 to a 23-second lap. Now we're hitting 24-second laps. This is a second of fall off. What does the car start to handle like, JC, when it gets to this point? I mean, how do you, you know, do you use the brake more here? Do you kind of lift earlier? What do you do to kind of, you know, to drive the race car when it's this worn out?
Usually you want to try to use some brake, especially like more rear brake than the front brake, so that way it get your car turning into the corner more. Because like right now, like with these tires as they wear, your entry would be a little bit tighter than the beginning, and of course, like if you're tight on entry, you're just going to be very tight on exit, and that's causes trouble. That's why you're seeing a lot of these cars start hitting walls off these corners.
Yeah, it's that tight condition starting to kind of work its way in. Josh Schaffner specifically is the one that's having the worst time. He just fell out of the top 10. He's now in 11th place. Alex Murray, though, just took over 3rd from Miller Bonds. Now, we of course saw Josh plummet through the field. Brandon has not plummeted in the same way.
Now we're getting into that part of the night where I didn't think it was going to happen this soon, especially in stage 2. But the leaders are now starting to have to deal with lap traffic, and that lap traffic, once it shows up, it's just one of those things that you just can't get rid of. So unfortunately, I think they're going to be dealing with it for the foreseeable future, Brian, because everybody is not, obviously hadn't been dealt the same hand. Some guys looks like they had an ace up their sleeve. Other guys are just kind of, up the river, I guess.
And there goes Alex Murray sailing it around the top side. He has switched lanes, and JC, you kind of alluded to this being an option here, especially later in the run. It seems like it's working out pretty well. Of course, Brandon Pasolaco, we saw him drive up through the field quite fast. I'm surprised he's lasted this long, but I do believe he is starting to kind of pay the price for driving that race car so hard. He's now fallen back to 4th place. Miller Bonds has gotten by him. Now, can Alex catch Abner? I think Abner has been kind of not as aggressive, and he also has the clean air. Now, I know last stage, Alex was not able to catch Abner. Will it be different this time? I do believe we're seeing Josh Schultz coming to pit road. Interesting to see that. It looks like the damage maybe getting some damage repaired.
Yeah, or I think it's just time to get tires, man. I think a lot of guys are out there and they're just fighting losing battles, and they're realizing that, and they're just saying, man, either I bring it down pit road or I'm going to run into the wall and everybody's coming down.
Yeah, that's a good point. Of course, we do have some close battles. I do believe 7th place right now. Jeremy Sumter is under fire from teammate Kyle Holden at the moment. Kyle Holden, of course, got to be really disappointed from last week. I think he thought he could win last week, and he was battling with Derek Heitman. And, so now he's, I think, trying to see if he can, get some good points here as he, of course, is battling Jeremy Sumter right now, trying to catch up there. We see some lap traffic that kind of intermingled as well. And, of course, David Centeni not too far back. David Centeni, I think, is one driver that has a ton of potential. You could tell he's got a lot of speed behind that 79. If things could just go right, I think he's got a good finish ahead of him.
Man, just looking at some of these lap times, and we're all over the spectrum here.
Oh, yeah.
I think we will start to see other green flag pit stops. We were wondering if we would get green flag pit stops in stage 3. Looks like we're going to have them in stage 2.
And it looks like Jeremy Sumter, he's starting to fall back. I think that the tire wear is starting to significantly impact him. Last time by, he had a 25-second lap. Brian Johnson starting to work his way forward. Now, Brian Johnson he did the opposite of what the other Paradigm drivers did. Now, we saw Brandon and Josh charge to the front. Brian was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take it easy. Oh, some contact there I think Brian's kind of using up Sumter a little bit there. I don't think that Jeremy Sumter's going to really like that very much. As you can see that I don't think Brian really left a lot of room for Sumter. I don't want to make a judgment call, but that definitely looked like a little bit of some rough driving there.
Yeah, but it's a lot harder to you don't have laser focus here once you got this many laps on your tires. So, where you think you're gonna turn and versus where you're actually gonna end up are two totally different things.
That's true. Frank Flores into the outside wall right in front of the leaders. And it looks like Frank able to avoid hitting the leaders there as Alex Murray's catching Abner Acosta quickly.
Yeah, and I think that was just a little bit of that stage fright for Frank. You wanted to get out of the way, but like you said, this is not really a multi-groove track. So the leaders just kind of want you to stay where you're at so they can navigate around you instead of you starting to try to do other things that are, jeopardize their race.
Yeah, no, I mean, you don't want to be the driver that takes out the leader. That's just a kind of a, you get that kind of, feeling of shame, I'd say, knowing that you're the one that caused that driver to not win that race, even though you had no shot at really winning, when you were getting ready to go a lap down. So definitely Frank was trying to do his best. And Frank's always trying to do his best. And, he's been another one of those drivers that we've seen improve by leaps and bounds, as his career has gone on, for sure.
Yeah, but this year,
moved up to the top.
Yeah, this year not doing anybody any favors because I'm telling you, like from somebody stored up the hornet's nest because you got so many heavy hitters that just came out of the woodwork, Brian. And then, I mean, we're showing 30 cars every Thursday night. I mean, an average of 30 cars. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, 100%. And it's been like top level contenders for sure that have shown up.
That's a bigger point, you know.
Yeah,
they're not just
Derek
30
Heitman,
scrubs.
Derek Heitman just got by Kyle Holden. Now, Derek, we mentioned him before. He's got that front end damage. It seems like it's not impacting him as much as I think we thought it was going to. Of course, he just drove by Kyle Holden. Kyle Holden seems like he's starting to struggle on the longer run here. Ooh, Kyle having to try to lift to stay off the wall as there goes Brian Johnson, who has been saving his tires. He's running through the field up to 9th now. Of course, coming up to 10 laps to go in stage number 2. Abner Acosta right now in control as we see this battle going on, I do believe, for the 9th place position.
Do we make it? That's the question.
It's possible, but it is starting to get a little heated right now. As you can see, Kyle not wanting to really let this position go to Brian Johnson. And you can see Jeremy Sumter's coming up to the back end of the 4. And if I know Jeremy, and I do know Jeremy, he's probably not too happy with the 4 right now. I hate to bring that up again, but this is kind of I don't know how this is going to go. I mean, I know that Jeremy is a very aggressive driver and takes this very, very seriously. Our producer could probably hit the thumbs up on that. But of course, here comes Sumter to the inside of the 4. This. If you say we might not make it to the end of stage 2, this might be the reason why, right here. As Kyle Holden, he's also trying to hold on to that 9th place position. We got to keep in mind as well, these are first stage points. 9th, if he finishes in 9th, that's going to be some stage points here, as well as if Sumter finishes in 10th, that'll be stage points for him. Of course, Brian Johnson at the moment, I do believe, is 2nd place in the points. He's desperately looking to continue to gather stage point. But I think we should go to the lead. Abner Acosta under fire from Murray here. This is a challenge for the lead for stage number 2. Does Alex get it done?
And Alex called his shot. This is exactly what he said he was going to do. Not able to complete the pass just yet as Abner's got his elbows out, and he's going to be doing everything he can. But I'm going to tell you what, these are 2 heavyweights right here going at it. Lap traffic just ahead. Hopefully it's not a factor. But, Brian, I really don't see how it's not.
No, it's going to be a factor. It is definitely going to be a factor. I really like what I'm seeing, though, from Murray. He kind of uses that diamond line. It's kind of running a little bit higher. Okay, so Abner goes down the racetrack a little bit, and I think he's just going to let him have it.
Woo, look at that. Look at that. Beautifully
well, maybe
done
not.
right there. 3 wide. That's on the lead. Abner gets a little squirrely, seemed like. He just had to get out of it. And Alex Murray's just going to roll on into the sunset.
Yeah,
I'm looking right now, and I don't see any contenders that are going to be coming his way here, Brian. So, short of him doing something completely, out of the ordinary, I think he's just got a chance to just roll right on into that stage 2 victory.
No, I think he's definitely got it pretty much sealed. And I think that lap traffic kind of helped him to do that. Not to say that I think Alex was faster than Abner. But I think that lap traffic kind of dumped some dirty air on Abner and kind of caused him, like you said, to kind of have a little bit of some wiggles there. So Alex Murray now in control. And I'll tell you one thing about a driver like the 22. When he has control of a race, it's hard to get it back from him. And it seems like he's the best on the long run, I got to say. So in stage 3, that's where the long run's going to matter the most, guys. That means I don't know if anybody's going to have anything for this 22, especially if he does the stage, the stops right, the green flag pit stops.
Yeah, he did kind of call that, and when you can call your shot like that and go out there and do it, I mean, that's a bold move, Cotton. That's some
100%.
Championship stuff right there.
Yeah, 100%. It looks like that race for the lead essentially is all sealed up. I get sealed up. I guess back to the race we were looking at earlier, that is not sealed up. These guys are battling hard right now for 9th. I mean, you can see that Brian Johnson, Kyle Holden, and Jeremy Sumter are going at it. Ooh. Brian Johnson kind of pinching the 59 up a little bit there, giving him just enough room. And you have to drive like that, I mean, at the end of the stage. So I'm not blaming Brian at all. Can he get clear? Oh, there's some contact. They are playing bumper cars here on now the final lap of stage 2. This is
bumper cars again.
Right here.
Yeah, definitely. Also, a little bit further up ahead, it was Patrick Gitter going at it with Brandon Pasalacqua. These two still going at it as they're racing and beating banging to the line as well.
And it looks like the yellow flag is out. Brian Johnson, almost wrecking in with Kyle Holden.
I don't think that was a
after
love
the yellow.
tap.
The yellow was already out while they were beating and banging there. I'm not sure actually who got that position.
I think that was a case of a buck and bull right there.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I think some of these drivers might be a little upset with each other.
You think?
But let's take a quick rundown through the top 10 finishers. Of course, Alex Murray, your Stage 2 winner. Abner Acosta finishes second place. Great points for Abner this race. Miller Bonds, of course, finished third. I do believe he started in second, so really good performance so far from the 12. He's got some good long-run pace. Brandon Pasalacqua charged up through the field. He is in fourth. Patrick Gitter's in fifth. Matt DeCiani sixth. David Centeni, what an impressive showing from the 79. Derek Heitman, he's in eighth with the front-end damage. Very impressive for him as well. Kyle Holden just barely holds on to ninth place. Brian Johnson finishes in 10th. With that, we're going to take a real brief step away. We'll come right back and we'll talk to whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association race here at, of course, Dover Motor Speedway. As, of course, Big Al is going to be talking to whoever he wants to talk to. We already talked to our Stage 2 winner last time. Big Al, do you have anybody new for us?
Patrick Gitter. Did we get Patrick?
All righty, we got him here in the booth.
Patrick Gitter, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Big Al, I got you.
Hey, boss, how's everything going? You started this thing up in first, and now you kind of like back in the pack a little bit. Nope. I mean, how's it going down there?
It's going, man. We're feeling out the long runs and trying to get a feel for how much is too much to lay back versus how much to push on these runs we get. So I'm kind of feeling that out, trying to sort some strategy out here for the rest of the longer run we're going to get.
So what would be the number one factor with what's going on down there on the track tonight? I think we know, but we don't want to speculate.
Yeah, I think it's, definitely the shorter runs we had there, I think paid off for the guys that decided to take a gamble and run a little harder early, and they were able to save their track position, and track position comes at a premium here at Dover. So I think it paid off for them, and something I'm trying to kind of learn from and factor in here. Try to determine kind of what that strategy is going to look like in the long run. Do you push hard and go for track position, or do you save tire and go for the long haul? So I think that's a decision a lot of guys are going to have to make here in the final stage.
Do you care to share?
Well, I think I'm going to try to. Yeah, well, it's a balancing act, right? So I think it's an awareness thing. I mean, if we go green here and we see, 2 cautions come out in the first 50 laps, then maybe that warrants the short run game. So I think it just kind of depends on the pattern we see with caution.
I really appreciate your time, sir. Congratulations there for your position finishing in the second stage. Before I let you go, who you shouting out tonight?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Shouting out Team Conti Sim Performance. Got us a really good set here at Dover this week. See if we can make it pay off in the long run here. Shout out to Martin PC, Seminario Designs, and then definitely you guys in the booth, and Kenny for running the lead.
All right, boss. Good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium tonight.
10-4. Appreciate it, guys.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. Started on the pole. Has been very consistent here tonight. Definitely didn't I say reveal too many secrets. Of course, pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway. This is when the real race begins, guys. Because even though we talk about how much these stage points, how valuable they are incredibly valuable, guys. But what's the one thing that everybody remembers? The winner of the actual race.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here we go, Alex Murray getting ready to enter that Geico restart zone. And there it is, green flag back out in the air. He kind of trying to catch everybody guessing. And I think he definitely succeeded in that as we see a battle for third place. Patrick Gitter trying to fight with the 12. The 12 goes up a little bit as we're seeing side by side for third.
Yeah, now this is, got a car into the wall right there.
I'm not sure exactly who that
Before
was.
Brian Johnson, I do believe.
I think it was. I think
not
Brian
a
Johnson.
Yeah, not a good way to start this stage, because right now we're looking and looks like Abner Acosta's going to go ahead and try to stretch his legs out. Him and Patrick Gitter going to be banging side by side, Brian. And this is just letting us know Patrick's kind of showing his hand a little bit about what he's holding to be most dearest, because he definitely wanted track position.
Yeah, he even said that. I mean, he said that track position was incredibly valuable to him at Dover, and of course, we can see what's valuable to Alex Murray. He's dropping to the field like a rock. I mean, he's like, I'm going to save my tires. That seemed to pay off in the second stage, and I think it's going to pay off well here in the third stage as well, because this is the longest run we'll probably see here tonight. I mean, of course, we're going to be going to lap 250, which means I do believe we have 100 and over 110 laps to go. Actually, more than that. I mean, 125, I do believe.
Yeah, and that is a very long time, and hopefully I think we will see some sort of green flag pit stops out of there. And I think he's doing the best thing. I mean, because at the end of this thing, you're going to want to have tires left on the rim so you can mount a charge. Just say the caution doesn't come out.
Yeah, no, I think that's the play. I mean, and of course, we did see cautions in stage 1, but we haven't seen them in stage 2. And I don't know how stage 3 is going to be, but usually stage 3 is the one where we see it go all green a lot of times. And if that's the case, then it's going to pay dividends to really just take care of the equipment. Don't worry about where you're running at right now. Just worry about conserving those tires, because when everybody starts struggling, you're going to be able to drive through the field. As we see a battle going on for second place, Abner Acosta, of course, fighting who else? I mean, Miller Bonds. They've been fighting all race.
Yeah, absolutely. Halfway through this thing, looks like the 58 car is back down on pit road, and the leaders are going to do just that. They're going to get out there and they're going to race. Some of the guys in the back of the pack are just saying, "Man, I just want to be able to be, on the lead lap at the end of this thing," because we saw those lap times, and once the tires get worn, man, a lot of these cars are just headed their back pedal.
No, yeah, I agree totally. Some of these drivers, when they start to wear out those tires, they start to just fall through the field, and I think that's what that's not the strategy. You're going to want to try to conserve, but some drivers, I got to be honest, Big Al. I mean, some people they just don't have that mindset that I need to save tire. They're just like, hey, the car's fast, let's go. Like I think I could see me being like that sometimes. When you're out there behind the wheel, it's easy to say I need to save tire. It's hard to put that into practice. JC, wouldn't you say? I mean, you're behind the wheel week in and week out here.
Oh, yeah. It takes a lot of practice to save tires, and I'm still not really good at it as much as everybody else is, but I work at it every week.
Yeah, and one of those things with a track like this, it's like I believe this track in Bristol, for whatever reason, I think they're too similar. Either you like these tracks, or either you love them or you hate them.
I've been hit or miss with both of them. I've had good runs, I've had bad runs. It's more about just the way the car feels coming into the race, and pretty much like if it's handling bad from the start, it's going to handle bad at the end, where if it's handling good at the start, it's going to just feel that much better at the end.
And a lot of times that has to do with, of course, as the racetrack starts to wear rubber-wise. I mean, if you already have a good handling car and it's kind of set up for, that it'll be better, I guess, later in the run. Side-by-side battling further back of the Alexander car in the 18, fighting with Kenny Powell.
Yeah, that battle's going to be
fighting all. Go ahead.
I said that battle's going to be for 14th place. I've been watching those two guys. Kenny is slowly starting to wake up. Now, I think he kind of missed the boat on the first two stages, but I don't think he wants to miss the boat on the end stage. I think he's going to try to do what he can to at least kind of move up and see the top 10 if possible.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, you know, he was involved in an incident earlier in the event, I do believe. So, you know, can't really blame him, I guess, in a way, but he's slowly but surely been trying to recover. And, you know, Tim Wortman Jr. also, he's been really, really fast. And so that battle has been kind of underway for quite a while. Mark Sanchez, that's a driver we have not talked about, I don't believe, at all tonight. And, of course, he was the driver, I do believe, that won our race at Daytona. And he's in the 15th now. Looks like he's been
falling. Yeah, I think he's
into
actually
the wall.
falling back there because, Brian, he just created a scenario in which he made a driver make a decision. He actually didn't give him a choice, so we're going to continue to watch him as well.
Heading back to the front, though, battle is on in the top three. Patrick Gitter under fire now from Brandon Pasalacqua. Pasalacqua just got by Abner Acosta, and he is now looking to try to get that lead back. Now, Pasalacqua has been incredibly fast. I think he's been one of the fastest drivers on the short to mid run. Now, of course, in the longer run, he's not as good because I think he just burns it up a little bit. But I think if he was able to kind of calm down and take a little bit of a chill pill, I think he'd be all right. He could probably win this race.
Well, the question is going to be just how much is Patrick Gitter going to want to give? Is Gitter going to let him go, or is Gitter going to maintain the lead and take advantage of that clean air?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question for sure. And I think the clean air is a valuable commodity. We've seen that already all race, but definitely looks like Pasalacqua at the moment is the fastest car on the racetrack. 23.259 last time by from Pasalacqua. That was a tenth faster than Gitter, but Gitter has a track position. If he just stays in the way, it doesn't matter how much faster you are. But it looks like I think Pasalacqua is going to possibly get side by side, not able to do it. As, of course, he tries to challenge for the lead. Of course, Miller Bond starting to slow down a little bit. He's got about a 1.3 second gap up to Abner Acosta. We're starting to see quite a big spread. We are not seeing a spread, though, for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Jeremy Sumter, Kyle Holden, and Derek Heitman battling pretty hard right now. Heitman on the inside.
As we're just watching Gitter in Pasalacqua, they're just going back and forth at it.
And you see right behind these guys, Tim Wortman Jr. I mean, this is the battle we were just watching a little bit earlier. I mean, Wortman has made his way to the back door of the top 10, essentially. You can just see a gaggle of race cars, ton of race cars, all right here in the line. And I do believe we see one that's a lap down that's in the midst as well. That's the 11 of Matthew Cisna. For Cisna trying to, I do believe, get that lucky dog. Right here, you see Kyle Holden, of course, trying to hold off Kenny Powell. Powell, touches the wall just a little bit. Very good recovery, I got to say, from John Bender. He was involved in an incident earlier in this race in 23. Of course, he's now back up in the top 15.
Yeah, looks like Kenny Powell's got a little bit of a fire lit there as he continues his charge to the top 10.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely, I think, determined to work his way forward to try to get into the mix here for the top 10. And yeah, I think he just wants to he wants to get as many points as he can here, and it's just been really difficult, especially, you know, we talking back about how the change in the competition. We've seen all these guys that are just incredibly talented show up in the ISCA, and you know, Kenny is a talented driver. He is very much a talented driver, but compared to some of the 7,000 iRating guys we got that joined recently, I just don't know what you can do against, talent like that. It's very difficult to win a race in this series now when you got heavy hitters like that, like Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, man. Just the sheer volume of heavy hitters in this league just makes it that much more difficult. Kenny Powell now on the hunches of Brian Johnson. This battle's going to be for 11th place.
Yeah, and of course, Tim Wortman Jr., he's just gotten up into the top 10. He's up in 10th right now, trying to work his way up to the, I do believe, 76 of Derek Heitman. As the battle for the lead is still underway, Brandon Paslagos still trying to make that higher line work to get above the 21, but just not able to do it. The 21 is just able to kind of slide up just in time in order to keep that 6 behind him. And, of course, that has kept Abner Acosta pretty much right there in the mix. Now, Miller Bond's last few times has been faster than the top 3. He was about 1.3 seconds back from the top 3, now has started to whittle that down to about 7/10.
But what Patrick Gitter's doing is he's just slowly grinding away at those tires on that 6 car. You know, Brandon fell all the way back. He showed great speed to get up there, but he had to burn some rubber to do just that. So he is now ahead of Abner, who's just kind of, I think, sitting back and just waiting. So you got a racing game and a waiting game going on right now. It's chess and checkers.
And Patrick, of course, is utilizing that tool he has with the dirty air, you know, kind of dumping dirty air on the 6. Wherever, you know, he's probably looking in his mirror and saying, where's the 6 driving? Where is he running at? Where can I run to make his tires wear more than mine? And I think that, you know, even Abner's dealing with the same thing. So, you know, it's very difficult to avoid you know. Now, JC, what do you do when you're kind of sitting in the tire tracks at a track like this of someone, you know, to try to avoid, you know, burning those tires up? I mean, it's very difficult to deal with dirty air. What do you do?
Well, you just try to, like, do what Brandon's doing. You run, like, just a little bit more inside to get your left side in that cleaner air if you can. But if the car in front of you is doing that, then you just do the opposite, kind of like go a little bit of the outside instead. You just got to get just enough, like just a corner of your car, like in clean air, and it should help you a little bit.
One driver I'm surprised is having such a struggle of a day has got to be Frank Flores. Of course, we see him. But one driver that's having a really bad day, I got to say, is Randy Mullins. He's back in 20th right now to 54. And I do believe he is getting ready to go a lap down, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, he's coming off of pit. He's coming down to pit road. He was just getting ready to get lapped, and I think he's just figured, I'm getting ready to get lapped. I might as well come down pit road and grab a set of tires. And you said something about this Big Al earlier, that he was trying to really hold on to those points. He's 5th in the points entering this race. This is going to be a hard hit for him if he doesn't recover. I mean, we're now 100 laps to go. If we don't see some cautions, Randy's not going to be doing very well points-wise.
Yeah, and you run into that situation where the tracks that you go to just aren't, you know, they're not short tracks. You know, and that's another thing drivers are going to have to face. It's great if we go to your strong suit of tracks, you know, in the down stretch, but you got to make every race count, man. You can't afford to have a bad one, not with this group of guys.
Miller Bonds making a big move there on Abner Acosta. Abner kind of gave a bump to the back of the 12 machine. I don't think bump drafting, I don't think he's supposed to do that at Dover, but I mean, apparently Abner did not get that memo as a huge burst of speed comes from the 12. I think the 12, I saw him back off, and he had let that 1.3 second gap that I had mentioned kind of build up earlier, and I think that was kind of in an effort to try to save his equipment, because he has also put the switch, and here he comes. I mean, he is up to now 2nd. He might have a chance of taking this lead away. Miller Bonds looking really good tonight.
But let me ask you this. What are they racing for?
Racing for the win.
I mean, you're not going to get it right now. I understand, but Patrick Gitter, he knows what he's racing for. He's staying up front because he has only been in the clean air. You know what I mean? So he understands the value of it, and he's not going to relinquish that. But it's a cost that these other guys are going to pay by trying to catch him, Brian. And I think you got to start looking towards the long run, because you understand what I'm saying? You cannot afford to prematurely pit.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. You definitely, I think you need to weigh out when you pit very, very, I think you need to put a lot of thought into that. Of course, the fuel window is 93 laps. We're 156 laps into this race. Of course, I do believe about 30, I do believe, let's see, we're probably about, I do believe, 35 or so into this run right now. 35 plus into this run right now. So we still have quite a ways to go until these guys, I think, decide to probably pit. I would split it in half. Some drivers might try to short pit. Some drivers might try to long pit. I don't know, JC, if you were in the shoes of these drivers right now and you were at Dover, and let's say, you know, you're running in the top 5, when do you pit? When do you think you would pit?
I mean, pit stops here is hard to judge because, usually you want to be one of the earlier ones in, like, just within, like, a 5-lap window from everybody else to keep your track position. Because if you stay out too long, then you will lose, like, your track position coming out because you'll be beat by guys that came in before you. But also, the other thing you got to watch out for here is the fact that you lose basically almost 2 laps pitting under green here because pit road speed limit is only 35 miles an hour.
That's true. So that's another thing, another factor that you really have to consider. I mean, pit road speed being 35 mile an hour, and also how difficult it is to get to pit road. I mean, you got that banking change that you could very easily spin the race car out, especially with how I'd say warm the tires are, right? I mean, I think this is one of the pit roads that you have to practice. There's some tracks out here that we visit in the ISCA that are really not tracks you have to practice pit road at. But I think this is one that it would pay dividends to know exactly what you're doing.
Especially the exit. And to kind of add to you all's conversation, one thing that you don't want to do is you don't really want your pit stop to be influenced by anyone other than yourself. You know, so that's the key, is if the driver is keeping his hands close and then he can make that decision, that's awesome. But you just don't want to run your tires down chasing a rabbit, and then now you get into a situation where you have to pit.
Well, I don't think that's what happened here with Miller Bonds. I mean, Patrick, we were talking about Miller, who had a sudden burst of speed. Well, now he's kind of started petering out a little bit, I'd say. I mean, 24.1 last time by versus Patrick Gitter. He's hitting the fastest laps of the race, essentially, or of the field that last lap. That's because he's been able to save the tire being in the clean air. He's just kind of acting as that carrot on a stick that we talk about so much, and I think that's what's really been happening. But I'll tell you, one driver that has been starting to surge ahead that we know is probably one of the best on the long runs has been Alex Murray. He has been quickly getting through this field. He's up to now 5th place. He got by David Centeni. Centeni, of course, getting ready to be under fire by Matt DeCiani. I got to brag on the 79, though. I mean, this guy, I do believe he won, if I'm not mistaken, one of the duels at the beginning of the season, Big Al, if I recall correctly. And he has been doing fantastic this season. The 79, I don't think he will click one off this year. I mean, of course, he did click off a duel win. That's not really an official points win. But, I mean, he's been on the edge of maybe a top 5, a top 10 finish. And I think tonight might be a top 10, top of night for him.
Well, that's good, man. And everybody needs a top 10 kind of a night. Not sure what's going on with the 54 crew. Those guys are definitely struggling on and off pit road. The 64 comes down. It's like a family reunion down there now. Not sure what's happening.
And that, you know, what's really crazy about that is Brandon Pasalacqua is probably the best running Paradigm driver right now. I mean, Brian Johnson, he's been running pretty good, I'd say. He's got good long run pace, but you know the rest of the Paradigm drivers, Josh Schaffner. Oh, we got.
We're seeing green flag pit stops.
Yeah, we're starting to see some green flag pit stops a little early.
11 in, the 15's in. I guess. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just watching the race. I'm calling it what I see.
Yeah, no, you're calling it right. I mean, it looks like it's a little early, but I think somebody's missed their box.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations, Brian, in which these people, their pit stops are dictated.
I would not want to pit here. It's a little early in my book because these tires are not going to last that long.
Yeah,
you're almost
some drivers might have relegated themselves to doing a 2-stop instead of a 1.
Well, these guys don't have a choice. They're already volunteered to be 2-stoppers. With 83 laps to go, I mean, they are within the fuel window. I just don't know if they've got their setups dialed in. Because, hey, a lot of these guys might be dialed in for the long run, and I think that's what happened on that first stage. You know, they kind of got set off cycle, if you will.
Yeah, it could be. Alex Murray last time by, fastest car on the racetrack, of course, on the this set of tires. He is running down quickly Abner Acosta, but he does have some distance to get up to Patrick Gitter. Now, Gitter has been trading on with that fastest lap with Alex Murray. So I don't know. I got to be honest. I think if Patrick Gitter nails his pit stops, I think Patrick's got this thing maybe in the bag. A lot of laps still left to go. I mean,
I was wondering what you were talking about.
Well over 60, 70 laps to go.
80 laps to go to be exactly 79 at the line. But yeah, man, it's still a long way off, I think. There's a lot of possibilities.
I see the pit window opening at lap 190 to 200.
So you got it 20 laps out.
Yeah.
Wow,
I got to be honest. I think it's opening up even sooner than it's going to open up at about. I'm gonna say probably 185.
I like him because I want to feel it. I want to try to see what I'm telling my drivers. We got to get as close to 200 as possible. If we can get to 200, we know exactly what we're dealing with to get that last chunk of 50 out.
That's
Plus,
true.
that saves us a set of tires, for the short run.
That's a long run, though. I mean, because that I understand you want to have those newer tires later. As here comes Abner Acosta to the inside, and we see once again the 4 and the 59 battling. That is Kyle Holden and Brian Johnson. They just cannot seem to stay away from one another. But of course,
but look at what Gitter's
trying
doing.
to attack Brandon, not able to get there.
But look at what Gitter's doing.
Gitter says, "See ya." 1.5 seconds.
All the while, where everybody was coming up and they were challenging, it was almost like he was just kind of dragging them along, making them wear their stuff out. And then when he kind of got sick of playing with him, he just put that thing in overdrive. And I mean, now he's in a different race.
Yeah, it was like he got tired of playing with them like they were toys and just threw them to the side and just drove off.
It kind of makes you wonder, like, who's holding who up over here in the run of second through fifth. Because I
Here
can't
comes
believe
Alex flying around the top right now. Alex Murray, he's the fastest car on the track right now. But I don't know if the gap's too big for Patrick Gitter, though, for Alex to catch up. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, we're coming up on pit stops.
Look, I'm just saying this. I'm having a hard time believing that Gitter is that much faster than these guys. So you can just put that in perspective. Somebody has got to be holding these guys up.
John Bender, pit road. Side by side, though, for second place is Miller Bonds. In a fight right now with Brandon Pasalacqua.
Looks like Pasalacqua's going to get it. I'm just asking that question.
Go ahead.
I'm just asking that question, though. Like, how did Gitter get so much faster than these guys?
I got to say it's clean air. I got to put it all on clean air. Wouldn't you say, JC? I mean, I think that has allowed him to save the tire. And he's also played that cat and mouse game with these guys as well. He's played mind games, Big Al. Wouldn't you say, JC?
If you remember in the early part of this run, too, it looked like Gitter was holding up the other 3 or 4 cars behind him, and he was actually saving his tires by doing that, and the others was not trying to pass him at the same time, and they was caught in his dirty air, and I think they kind of like used their tires up a little bit on him.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. I think he knew exactly what he was doing when he was sitting out front. He was just making himself slow enough for those guys to think they could catch him.
And is that a surprise, though, Big Al? Because, I mean, we've seen that from Patrick before. He's the king of doing stuff like that. He sets the pace and just makes everybody else kind of dance to his rhythm,
Wow.
I mean, Patrick is a very... I'd say the best way to describe Patrick is a smart racer. He's a very smart racer. He has a very high race IQ.
Man, we're in a room full of thoroughbreds here. I mean, I think all of these drivers are, but yeah, he's, man, yeah.
I think we'll see green flag pit stops here very soon. Of course, I said 185, so I think that we'll see that. But, I mean, you could be as right well, too. I do believe, JC, you said something about 190, 200 in between those, that 10-lap margin here. So here comes Alex Murray to the inside, and let's see what happens here. I mean, once Alex gets this position completed. If I'm getting passed right now by Alex, I'm thinking about pitting.
Really?
If I'm Patrick, though, I'm staying out probably. I think if I'm in Patrick Gitter's shoes, I have a little bit more buffer to stay out longer.
I think you got to stay the course, though. I think you came here with a plan. You know how many laps you got to run. You just can't. You can't let other people's strategies get into your head. You can't let them force your plan. You got to stick to your plan, in my opinion.
Well, we're right now 65 laps into this stint, coming up on 66. Now we're coming up to around that same number to go. Now, if anybody's splitting it in half, we're going to be seeing pit stops very soon.
Yeah. Well spoken.
Now, of course, Pasalacqua right now under fire from Abner Acosta. Acosta to the inside.
Yeah, I think it's time to pit.
Especially for a driver like Pasalacqua. I think he's starting to hit that almost metaphorical brick wall. If I was him, I'd go ahead and pop down pit road, grab a set of tires. Then again, I mean, if he's struggling right now, he's going to still struggle later as well.
And look at that. The floodgates are opening. Looks like pits are starting to happen.
Miller Bonds, pit road. Yep, Greg Wachinski, Andrew Griesbaum, Mark Sanchez, like you just mentioned, all the pit road. The floodgates have opened. Now, Miller Bonds is going to be the real trendsetter. So he pitted out of the top 5. Problems for Greg Wachinski. He misses his box.
He smoked him coming in.
Well, that's the thing. These guys are on 65-plus lap old tires. You don't hardly have a whole lot of resources left to get that thing woed down to get to pit road.
Especially, this is one of those tracks where it's tricky on and tricky off, man. Because trying to get it down, slowed down enough to get in, and then trying to get it fast enough to still hug that corner coming out. Yeah, it's some work.
Oh, yeah. See Greg Carr coming off of pit road. Patrick Gitter was just dealing with some lap traffic. He just got by Randy Drumhiller, I do believe. As you can see, the 18 and the 25 kind of fighting off the pit road. That's uncle and nephew team of Greg Carr and Alexander Carr.
Yeah, man. A lot of drivers trying to split this in half or get it as close as they could.
And you see,
Still got quite a few out.
Coming to pit road. Kenny Powell, I do believe, pit road. Randy Drumhiller.
Now we're just waiting to see when that lead pack's want to bust it up, and when they come in, we still have quite a few guys that have not yet come in. The majority of the field yet is still out.
Yeah, they're going long. And I think some of these drivers are following, I think, maybe the strategy JC has. And that's not, JC drives every week. So it's no wonder that they're following what he says because he's out here experiencing it.
Yeah, I think you got to get as close to that 200 as possible, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, it seems like you were definitely right. I think in a lot of ways we were kind of all right. But look at, I want to point out how weighty of a decision this is. I mean, Miller Bonds, who was pitted from the top 5, he went 2 laps down when he pitted. So, I mean, that just shows you what you lose whenever you do come down pit road.
Shopper, pit road, low to 33.
Yeah, Randy Belt.
Here comes Matt DeCiani.
Matt DeCiani, that's another one that's going to be a trendsetter, the one machine. And I do believe we'll see.
Comes the leader.
Here comes the leader, Patrick Gitter, to pit road.
Now you have to come. At this
point,
point,
locked up there.
At this point, I don't think you have a choice.
Alex Murray stays out. He's going to stay out 1 lap here. That way he'll have 1 lap fresher tires. That actually, that don't sound like a lot, but at a track like this, it kind of can be.
Yeah, but you got to catch Gitter, and then you got to get around him. And that's the one thing he's demonstrated, Brian. He's not easy to pass.
He definitely has been a thorn in the side of about everybody out here, and it looks like he's going to smoothly get into his box. Brandon Pasalacqua as well has pitted. So that leaves, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Alex Murray, Abner Acosta, Derek Heitman, Jeremy Sumter, Kyle Holden, Brian Johnson, and Centeni on the racetrack still. As Patrick Gitter is going to come out, I do believe, 1 lap down. Actually, no, 2 laps down. He's just going to get past, I do believe, possibly very soon. Maybe not. He might stay 1 lap down because I think I see it. Yeah, Alex Murray's not going to catch him to put a 2nd lap down. So this, yeah, I think Patrick is well in the driver's seat of this race if it stays green. Coming up to 55 laps to go. I think now's a really good time. Let's take a brief step away. We're going to go take a commercial break. We'll be right back with the conclusion of tonight's race at Dover Motor Speedway.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series as Dover Motor Speedway continues to progress. Alex Murray, who, of course, went the long run, tried to, I do believe, overcut, ended up getting a penalty coming to pit road. We saw it, of course, under commercial. He had really drove it quite hard into pit road, almost hit the water barrels to be honest. I think we're going to see exactly what happened here. I think we have it all queued up as here he comes to pit road. You're going to see this is a very close deal. He almost hits the water barrels, barely misses them, gets it checked up, not in time, gets a speeding penalty, and has to sit on pit road for quite a bit of extra time. Now, Big Al, I know you have a phrase that you have pretty much coined, and I think Alex Murray just proved that phrase is true.
Big Wiggles?
No, I was talking about you race for show, you pit for dough. He's been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, he just made a mistake on pit road.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, out of us three, I think we've all raced at some point here, and I think we've all hit the barrels on the entry of pit road at Dover. That's just how hard it is, and it just goes to show that it's still a factor even amongst the pros.
Oh, it definitely is, and I think that, Alex is probably going to be kicking himself over that for sure. I mean, he went 2 laps down as a result, and of course, Patrick Gitter, though, he has about 2.6 seconds back to Miller Bonds, but I'll tell you, Patrick is in a hornet's nest. He has got race cars all over the place, and he's pretty much trying to put a lot of these cars a lap down. He's right now, I do believe, catching up to the back end of Josh Schaffner and Kyle Holden, who are 11th and 12th. So I think at the end of this race, I got to be honest, I think Gitter might put almost the whole field a lap down if he keeps this up. Talk us through, JC. We saw Alex kind of make that mistake on pit road. Is that something that's easy to do? I mean, I know Big Al says that we've all ended up in the water barrels. What do you attribute that to? Was that worn tires, you think?
More he was just trying to be too aggressive on entry, which here you do that, you're either going to end up in the water barrels or you're just going to miss pit road completely and have to go around again.
Yeah, and he had essentially something similar to that, but he missed the water barrels, but he got caught speeding.
Yeah, either one of those two is going to be detrimental to your race, especially in a race as competitive as this. So we'll be watching just to see how much of a total effect that it does have on him. But the one thing that hasn't changed, Patrick Gitter, man, he's still out there. That's the story right now to tell. And look at the interval. Look at the lead he has on P2.
Yeah, he's got 3.4 seconds, and he's not showing any I think, signs of slowing down. I mean, lap time-wise, 23.34 last time by. I mean, he's one of the fastest cars in the top 10. And now, of course, Abner Acosta is a little bit faster, but Abner's got 10 seconds to get up to Patrick. I got to be honest, I don't think anybody's going to be able to take this away unless we have a late race caution, which under the commercial break, I did kind of say I think we might have one. I mean, we've only had 2 cautions thus far, and those cautions were in stage 1. Could we see some type of mistake from maybe one of the lap cars? I mean, that is so easy it's such an easy thing to have happen. I got to say, though, look at the resurgence from Kenny Powell. We're looking on the roof cam of the 24. He's up in the top 10. He's getting ready to unlap himself here. He's running down the 21 here.
Go, Kenny, go.
Yeah, I got to give the 24 a lot of credit. He's got a lot of speed in that race car. Mark Sanchez as well. Of course, G&G teammate not too far back from him, as well as we see Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson's on some really new tires at the moment.
Yeah, but, I don't know how graceful Gitter's going to be. I don't know if he feels like giving. His name's not Giver, it's Gitter. And I don't know if he's going to let these guys have anything.
That's probably the best thing you've ever said, Big Al. That's really good. That's why we pay you the big bucks. That was funny.
Wait, you get paid?
Oh, but I don't know. I feel like Patrick he doesn't lose anything by letting Kenny go, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, until you put that dude back on the lead lap and then he ends up freaking racing you and taking the win, that's not happening. Because I'm gonna make him stay right back there a lap down. That's a true story.
But here comes Brian Johnson. We'll see what he's able to do. He's got a ton of speed. You could just tell that Brian Johnson, he was about 3 tenths faster.
Kenny Powell just smacked the wall. I think that's probably going to vanquish any chance he had of getting around Gitter.
And here comes Brian Johnson right around the top side. He's going to take that lap back, and he's going to move. Of course, he's in 10th place right now. He's going to try to see if he can chase down Tim Wortman Jr. Let's take a quick look at the top 10 as they stand. Of course, Patrick Gitter in the lead. He's got 3.5 seconds on Miller Bonds. Brandon Passalacqua, he's sitting in 3rd. Matt DeCiani's in 4th. Abner Acosta is in 5th. Jeremy Sumter is in 6th place. David Centeni, very impressive run for Centeni. I got to keep saying that. 7th place. Derek Heitman, of course, 8th. Tim Wortman Jr. 9th. Brian Johnson, who rounds out the top 10 at the moment. And definitely has been a fantastic race here at Dover. Miles has been, I think, pretty happy with the amount of race car parts he's been able to get here tonight. Probably might get some more, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I think we still got a lot of room for a lot of things to happen, man. This has just been, it kind of started off eventful, then it really kind of settled itself out. And I don't see it getting any more exciting than it is right now.
And we see Kyle Holden. I'm watching him. He's kind of starting to attack Kenny Powell. That's for the 11th place position. Just wanted to kind of look at that. Of course, they are both a lap down at the moment, but that is still a battle for position. Holden, I do believe, pitted a lot later than Powell, so he does have newer tires at the moment.
I do believe that's also a battle for the lucky dog spot.
It is. You are 100% right. That is a battle for the first car a lap down, so you are 100% right.
So, JC, let me ask you this question. So, this stage of the race, 29 laps to go. This is a situation where, it's like that last leg of the trip home. Drivers get to be a little bit complacent. One driver has a oopsie. So you're in the lead of this thing, or you're in 3rd place. What are your thoughts at this stage of the competition?
Well, like for Patrick, you just kind of just do what you've been doing all day. Just put the laps down like you have been. Even like 2nd, 3rd, do the same thing unless you're getting challenged and you just try to defend the spots. I mean, the field is pretty well spread out at this point, so it's just you just stick to basically whatever script you wrote yourself.
My question would be, we know how long these races are. I mean, the ISCA, one of the longest series, leagues, I'd say. I mean, a lot of times we go, I've called other leagues, and a lot of times the race might last an hour or something like that, but the ISCA has more of a marathon style. Of course, they're not 100% races, but they're about 60+% races, so 250 miles is quite a long race. I mean, physically, it's very demanding. At this point in the race, JC, what do you feel when you're out in this race car? I mean, is it something that you're starting to feel the fatigue?
Oh, every bit of it. I mean, usually, like, even this point of the race, you're asking yourselves, like, is this race done yet? And you look up and you still got 25 laps to go. And it's like, well, I guess I got to keep going.
But, I mean, this is probably the time when you're a lot more prone to mistakes as well, right? I mean, because you are worn out and you're focused on that being worn out, right?
Again, it just depends on where you're positioned on the track. So, being that the field's spread out, if you're just content to being where you're at and just bring it home wherever you're at, then you just go out there and just run around, basically.
Well, I just know that I know that, like, everybody's been on the interstate for an extended amount of time. When you have that kind of white line fever, if you will, interstate, kind of to where you're almost, your brain is turned off. And a lot of times when that happens and you're on a racetrack in iRacing, or, racetrack in general, I'd say, that I think leads to that dangerous moment where you might misjudge what you're doing and, spinning the race car out just by your brain kind of blanking for a second.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
I mean, I got ADHD like nobody's business. So in order to get me to keep doing something continuously, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, definitely the race has started heating up, though, for that 3rd place position. Matt DeCiani has been steadily closing in on Brandon Passalacqua. Now, I think a lot of this is coming down to, I think Passalacqua is not getting through the traffic as good as Matt DeCiani is. So I think this race for 3rd is getting ready to heat up, and this might be determine who somebody talks to for 3rd place. And both of these drivers are some of the fastest on the racetrack. I think fastest on the track, though, right now, I think, is Derek Heitman. Heitman, of course, 23.5 last time by. He's catching up quickly to Jeremy Sumter. That's going to be a battle for 6th place. It's going to heat up very soon. Now, they are around the same pace. The only thing is Sumter is about a 10th slower than Hyden. So that could be an interesting fight. Of course, I do believe Sumter does have Randy Drumhiller ahead of him.
So everybody's got tires left, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got, I think, about 2 sets left.
Okay,
Of course,
so
Passalacqua has
tires are
3 sets left. So if we saw a caution right now, everybody would have the sets to take tires. So
yeah, they could take 2 sets.
Yeah, no, and at this point of the race, hindsight-wise, Passalacqua made the wrong call, because if he had pitted in that first stage, he probably would have got stage points, but did not get stage points because of that decision. But that's life. Life is, you got to make decisions and gamble and make choices, you know.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do,
do,
sometimes those decisions right there cost you a championship.
Especially those stage points. I mean, those stage points are huge. As we're turning on 3 wide, Sumter is going to be able to get, I do believe, Heitman, I should say, is going to be able to take over 6th place.
Didn't we have a guy that just lost the championship by 1 point?
Did we?
I'm pretty sure. I thought it was Brandon Passalacqua.
I mean, it could very well have been. I know it was very close last season. That's for sure. As we see the battle for 4th to start to heat up, Abner has caught up to Matt DeCiani. I thought that Matt DeCiani was going to catch up to Brandon, but it looks like the opposite is true. Matt has gotten caught by the 55, Abner Acosta.
Well, it's go time, Brian. So everybody that's been saving whatever, it's time to pull all of the tricks, hit all of the buttons, turn on all of the switches. Because
I think we need to see the 4 or the 4th place battle right now. There we go. No, not the 4. the 1. There we go. They are battling hard right now. You see the 55. Yeah, they are. I think you're exactly right, Big Al. I didn't mean to kind of cut you off. We also got a battle for 3rd. Miller Bonds in the middle, or a battle for 2nd, I should say. Miller Bonds trying to hold off Passalacqua at the moment.
Passalacqua looks like he's going to get the run there on the inside. Oh, got a little bit tight, had to back out of it. Still in contention, though. Still trying to hold on for 3rd.
Well, the thing is, at this moment of the race, these guys are all out of give. Here goes Brandon Passalacqua
hard into the wall.
And a late race caution comes out. Ooh, hold the brake, Brandon. Oh, and I was just getting ready to say that, they're all out of give and take right now. And I think Brandon was all out of give and take out, with Miller. I think those guys were racing each other hard, and that's going to cause a late race caution. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened here. I don't know who this would be on. Looks like, okay, yep, Miles has got his race car. We see that. All right, let's see if we can find out exactly. Oh, back to Miles again. It seems like we're having some problems trying to find the incident. Of course, it was involving the 6 of Brandon Passalacqua. There we go. We got him on our screen, and I think we'll get it now. You can see that he was battling side by side with Miller Bonds. Well, I think, okay, so yeah, Brandon, I think, might have got a little tight off the corner, possibly, was trying to track up, or could have, I don't know. I think I maybe want to look at that again, because Miller could have came off the wall. Because you could see that they were very close racing. I think this is clearly a racing incident. Now, let's see. I'm watching Miller, because Miller, I think, tried to avoid the wall and might have came down, but then again, Brandon might have came up. So I think this might have been kind of a meet in the middle type of situation here. You see Brandon trying his hardest to get clear here, and he's running all the way at the bottom at the moment.
Right there, he's getting out of sorts, just a little bit.
But also, there is room up to the wall for Miller. I got to say, I think they met in the middle here for the most part. Oh, and look at that. That's a hard hit.
Yeah,
he's got, and that's unfortunate.
Repairs required on that one. So that's gonna ruin his night, no matter how you slice that pizza. Looks like everybody's gonna come down pit road. That's gonna give everybody a brand new start.
Jeremy Sumter has elected to stay out. This is quite an interesting call. He's got 41 laps on his tire. And everybody behind him is on new tires. So Miller Bonds right now is on, he's going to be starting on the outside row. Now this, I got to be honest, this is probably the worst case scenario for Patrick Gitter. He had this thing wrapped up. And that's the bad thing about a late race caution, Big Al, is, you know, all that gap, all that work that Patrick put in just evaporated just now. JC, I mean, how would you feel if you have built up such a gap and just pretty much smooth sailing to the end, and then a caution comes out and just pulls the rug out from underneath you?
I'd feel definitely a little bit upset if I was Patrick, knowing that you basically had the race won and stuff. But he's not out of it yet. I mean, yeah, he's going to be restarting third here and right behind Jeremy on those old tires. So it's going to be interesting. Probably there's a chance to be like 3 wide in turns 1 and 2 on this restart.
Yeah, because you can guarantee Sumter's not going to get the best restart. I don't care what kind of a genie you have in your bottle. Man, it's just going to be hard pressed getting a solid launch with 41 laps on your tires. So that's going to put the guys around him at risk.
It looks like I think we're going to have a 9-lap shootout here.
And the other question is, did Miller Bonds take 4 tires?
Negative.
That's actually a really good question. He took 2.
He took 2.
He took 2, and Dover.
Gitter took 4. Gitter took 4.
And that's why Miller was able to get that race off pit road 1, because he only took 2. He spent 9.5 seconds in the box. I'm really worried about this start though for Sumter. If something happens further back in the field, it could work out really well for Sumter. But if we stay green, Sumter is going to be a moving chicane.
10 to go. Let's get it.
And here we go. Pace cars dip down pit road, and there's the green flag. Jeremy Sumter up through the gears, and I think he is getting ready to be swarmed into turn 1. He's got the bottom side right now. Huge run from Miller Bonds to the back end, or should I say Patrick Gitter. Gitter to the inside. Sumter into the outside wall a little bit there. And I think Patrick Gitter is going to take the lead. You can see Sumter goes up the racetrack 3 wide here at Dover, and there it is.
There it is.
Central.
Miller Bonds, they still going, no caution.
Somehow, there's the caution.
There's the caution. So here's the question that I have. This is the question that I have. So JC,
this is where the cautions happen, right here, back here with Matthew Cisna, Greg Carr.
So JC, you're in this situation right now, and your Miller Bonds. What's going through your mind?
Well, for Miller, taking 2 tires like he did to beat Patrick off pit road, he was hoping that he could clear Sumter and get that clean air off the spot, but he got kind of like held up on that outside line, like his car wasn't gripping like he was hoping, and it kind of like put him in a bad spot.
Oh wow! Look at this. This is a pretty big accident right here. Of course, it involved, I do believe, Matthew Cisna he was racing with Randy Belk. Belk, I think, they just had a little bit of a disagreement there when it came
Mark
to
Sanchez getting the repaired required flag. So look around him. I think he definitely got the brunt of the damage.
Yeah. But looking back at Jeremy, I think Sumter was at the top of the racetrack. I don't think he was necessarily. I mean, yeah, of course, staying out on the old tires, I'd say that's the wrong decision. I got to say that was the wrong decision for him. But I think that when it comes to that wreck, I don't know if he made the wrong decision in that regard, because he was at the top of the racetrack. And I just think Bonds was, like you said, JC, was trying desperately to get that position, right?
Yeah, when you have a fast car like Gitter, like right behind you, yeah, the first thing on your mind is to use Sumter as a like a pick in a sense, to get the lead away from him and then hopefully drive away with this few little laps left that he had.
And of course, we've been looking back at a little bit of a slow-mo replay of the accident between Matthew Cisna and Randy Belk. Of course, that I do believe caught up Kenny Powell as well, Greg Carr. I mean, that was definitely a very dramatic crash.
Now check this out. Somehow, Mark Sanchez and Jeremy Sumter ended up with black flags after that whole event.
Oh, wow.
Brandon Pascalaco was given an end-of-line penalty.
I see that. It looks like it was given by a race admin. I'm not sure if that was voluntarily given or what. Because sometimes, drivers out here, JC, you can speak if I'm wrong, will ask for a black flag. EOL, if something's wrong and they want to probably go to the end of the line. That's something you can ask for, correct?
As far as I know, you can. I've never really seen anybody do it, but knowing that Brandon's got a wrecked race car, he probably requested it, so that way he's just out of everybody's way.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. One thing that this kind of has helped, Alex Murray, who, of course, had that penalty coming on the pit road, a speeding penalty, he was 2 laps down as a result. He's now back on the lead lap. And I do want to say, J.C. Evans, you said there was going to be 4 cautions, right? That's
yes.
where we're at right now. We're at 4. Now, we could possibly see that 6. I don't know, though. I think we'll see if the producer's right, because I think we only have 1 green, white checkered available.
That's it, Papa. One's all you get. We're 5 to go. I mean,
if we see a caution now, we will have a green, white checkered. So that yeah. So we might all be wrong. So whoever in the audience gets 5, they're right.
Yeah. This restart is going to be hectic once again, especially with these closing laps now. You just got to watch for anybody that's trying to go 3 wide off these corners, because that's what's causing some of these crashes. And Patrick Gitter is going to take the outside lane off this restart.
This is the first time we've seen that tonight. We have not seen anybody elect to make that choice here tonight, but now Patrick Gitter has elected to do it. And I do want to mention this is the highest running that Derek Heitman has been tonight as well, up in 2nd. I don't know who's going to get this. I mean, I think Patrick, of course, has the advantage of the restart. But I got to say, there's a lot of fast race cars in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, don't bet against Gitter.
I mean, I'm looking at, like Abner. Abner's quick. He's fast. There goes the pace car down pit road. As I do believe we're going to have ourselves a 3-lap shootout. And there's the green flag back out in the air. And Patrick Gitter up through the gears. Really great restart. Side by side, though, Derek Heitman in the one of DeCiani. Looks like DeCiani falls back. And here comes Abner Acosta to the inside.
Ooh, the 4, Brian Johnson gets loose. He's trying to fight it 3 wide there. There goes Miller Bonds. He spots on the inside. Johnson gives just a little bit of a love tap. I think that was a thank you for straightening me out.
He's able to keep it straight there as he's side by side with Tim Wortman Jr. Of course, Bonds has probably a little bit of damage from that incident with Jeremy Sumter. He's still able to rebound, though, up to 6. As I do believe we're coming up to the white flag. Patrick Gitter in the lead right now. Here comes Kyle Holden trying to get up to Abner Acosta's back bumper. And the next flag is going to end it. J.C. Evans was right. 4 cautions is what we're going to have here tonight. And so you get the guest right championship. But here we go, out of turn 3 and 4. Patrick Gitter started from the pole, and he will win at Dover Motor Speedway. What a job from Patrick Gitter. He built up a 4-second lead on that long run in Stage 3. A late race caution came out. He did not panic. He was able to still seal the deal here tonight. What a victory for him. And, of course, I do want to remind everybody that he is the reigning champion. But back to his championship race caliber ways. He's, of course, going to burn it down. Yet another Team Conti victory. These guys have been just burning it up here lately, and I got to say, that's an even more impressive stat. Look at this. Patrick Gitter, Derek Heitman, Matt DeCiani, a 1-2-3 for the Team Conti boys. As they all burn it down. That's going to be a great screenshot for these drivers. Of course, let's run down through the final results here. Patrick Gitter, our winner here tonight. Derek Heitman comes home in second place. Matt DeCiani in third. Abner Acosta finishes fourth. Kyle Holden in fifth. Miller Bonds in sixth. Brian Johnson seventh. Tim Wortman Jr. in eighth. David Centini in ninth. Andrew Griesbaum rounds out the top 10.
And that's going to put Alexander Carr in 11th with Alex Murray 12. 13th place shows Kenny Powell. 14th, Greg Carr. 15th shows Josh Shawthorne, Greg Wachinski in 16th, John Binder 17th, Randy Belkin 18th, 19th, Brandon Pasalacqua, and Matthew Cisna rounds out the top 20.
For 21st, Randy Drumhiller. 22nd, Jeremy Sumter. 23rd, Mark Sanchez. 24th, Blair Holloman. 25th, Jeffrey Ford. 26th, Darren Mullins. 27th, Randy Mullins. 28th, Brent Flores. 29th, John Schultz. 30th, Derek Jacobs. 31st, Barry Stevens. I don't even think Barry actually made a start here tonight. Jay Hone as well. I don't believe any of these. I don't think they might have turned a couple laps, but I don't believe they made too far into the race.
We needed them for the stats.
But, of course, with that, we'll take a brief step away. We'll come right back, and we'll talk to our top three.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy, and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series. As we've just completed our race at Dover Motor Speedway, Miles the Monster, I got to say, is probably awfully satisfied with his buffet that he has had tonight. Of course, we're going to go ahead and start off the interview process. We're going to talk to Matt DeCiani, who finished in third. We're going to let JC Evans take the reins on this interview.
Matt DeCiani is JC Evans of the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, congratulations on your third place finish first off. And it looked like early on you might have been struggling a little bit. Tell me about what your car was doing.
No, really wasn't struggling. Just saving tires. There's a certain pace you got to run to have tires left at the end. And just kind of running my race, pacing. And yeah, it kind of worked out with the way the cautions fell and the green flag pit stop cycle. So yeah, good job to see TC 123. Pat was pretty good all race.
If you had another chance at it, do you think anything for Patrick?
No, I think having the car on old tires kind of really screwed everything up. Took out a couple cars there. That second to last caution, or that last caution. But nah, probably not. And I wasn't going to do anything egregious to pass a teammate for the win here.
Okay, before I let you go, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to Pat and Derek on their first and second. Team Conti, you guys for calling the race, and Kenny for putting on the league.
And I forgot to mention about next week. I think we're at Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, Kansas should be a fun track. It'll be nice to get back to a mile and a half. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be pretty multi-grooved. So tires will be key again, like always. And yeah, just take care of your stuff and
Be around at the end.
Hey, thanks for talking with us, and congratulations on your third place finish.
Yeah, thanks.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine, finishes in third. Of course, he won last week at Talladega, so definitely a good points day for him. Next up, we're going to have Big Al standing by with Derek Heitman, second place finisher.
Hey, Derek Heitman, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Hey, Al.
Hey, congratulations for your second place finish, boss.
Hey, thanks. I don't know how I got back up here, but I guess the cards lined up.
Yeah, especially not bad for your first time being at this track, right?
Yeah, not bad for the first time here.
So it's definitely got to feel pretty good for you guys coming out with a Team Conti sweep. Did you guys actually have any idea that was going to happen? I know you guys probably have been practicing together. You knew you had a fast setup. So is this a shock to any of you guys?
Honestly, no. I mean, I knew we were fast this week, and we've had really good long run pace. I got cycled to the back because at the start of the stage 2 restart, there was it's just like we all jumped before the leader went, and I had nose damage. So to start this stage 3, I decided to fix the damage, and then of course it went green all the way until about the end. But I think I'd driven all the way back up to 6th or 7th, so I was definitely at a long run pace. There were times where I felt like I kind of shot myself in the foot by doing that on that restart, but that's all right. We made it back up here and got ourselves a TCSP 123.
Yeah, that was a little bit of speculation up in the booth, and I guess you could answer the question. Was that front end damage? I mean, were you really feeling the effects of that at a track like this? Or do you think it was more prevalent at a track like, Kansas or Daytona?
Oh, I definitely felt it. I mean, a track like this where you're driving off the right front, more so than the right rear. I was the whole second stage. I was just absolutely plowing tight. I restarted 15th, and I think I fell all the way back to 14th. I'm sorry, I restarted 5th. I think I fell all the way back to 14th, and then I think I finished stage 7th. So I had a net loss of 2 on that run, and so I mean it was just plowing tight. So I had to get it fixed.
Yeah, well, congratulations on definitely getting it done, boss. Next week we're at Kansas. I mean, what can any predictions for Team Conti for next week?
It'll be my first time there, so I don't really know what to expect.
Right.
But, I'm sure we'll be good. I mean, we should have a killer setup. I haven't tested it yet this week. Shame on me, but definitely need to get out there and see how we're going to turn out.
All right, well, once again, man, as Big Al says here, who you shouting out for your second place finish tonight?
Shout out Matt and Pat for good finishes, again, 1, 2, 3. Shout out, everybody in the league. That was a really clean race. It was very good for Dover, so shout out everyone in here. Kenny for putting on the league, Conti for making us killer setups week in and week out, and you guys up in the booth putting on the show for our viewers.
All right, man, like I say, don't party too hard, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium next week. Good luck to you, boss. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Derek Heitman, driver of the 76, and I'll tell you that joke, you would think it'd get old, but it doesn't ever get old. Next up, we're going to be talking to our winner, Patrick Gitter. Patrick, what a run for you tonight, man. You led 122 laps. I do believe that was the most in the event. Very solid run for you today. Very good points day. And of course, you're the defending champion. And this is going to help out a ton, I'd say, to maybe have a chance at defending it again. You started first, finished first. Now, you had a 4-second gap before that last caution. And then all of a sudden, that gap disappeared. What was going through your mind there at the end?
Yeah, man. Obviously concerned and a little disappointed there when the caution came out. It was, I knew I was just going to go in, make some adjustments in the pits for the short run there. And then, I mean, you never know who's going to take in that situation. Who's going to take 2 tires? Who's going to stay out? So, that was in the back of my mind, and we saw how the end played out there on different strategies. We had one car that stayed out, and that was a little hectic, but we sorted it out and made it work.
That you did, but way to keep a cool head, I gotta say, because there was a whole lot of going on right there that you could have easily got caught up in, and you were able to kind of keep a cool head and work your way through that minefield. Like, what was it like here tonight, mentally preparing for this race?
Honestly, with Dover, I've just had really good history with Dover. It's been one of my favorite tracks on the sim, and so coming into it, I mean, and it seems like in seasons past, you've been able to save tire, back your pace up, and then if you do it right, you can pass people back at the end, no problem. But stage 1 and 2, that wasn't the case. I found out pretty quick that the guys up front we were battling with had some really good pace. I mean, Miller Bonds, Brandon, Sumter, Apter, I mean, those guys were solid up front. So stage 3, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go to the front, hold the clean air, and I'm just going to defend wherever I have to. And so I didn't plan on doing that, but that's just kind of how it went, and it paid off.
And that is interesting because, I mean, I know Alex Murray was kind of able to make that strategy you just described work. I mean, he was one that did back off and was kind of able to drive his way up to the front. So it's interesting that maybe your car wasn't handling, a way conducive to be able to make that happen. But you were able to kind of do best of both worlds, kind of save by having the clean air and just being, the driver that you are. And we did see that where you were defending, had Miller Bonds catch up to you, had all kinds of drivers that were able to catch up to you, but they just could not pass you. And it seemed like you were kind of playing that carrot on a stick kind of game with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've not felt like this as much at Dover before, but I was getting more Darlington vibes tonight than in the past. I mean, it was like one lane, dime in the corners, clean air's king. I don't know, just kind of getting those vibes. So that's where I landed on Strat at the end of the race, and it paid off.
Well, hopefully, I guess it helps you out because Darlington, I think, is in a couple weeks. So, of course, next week is Kansas. How are you feeling about that racetrack? I know you guys getting that 1, 2, 3 as Team Conti. That's got to set you up for a lot of momentum and confidence coming into next week, right?
I hope so. Kansas is, I think we only go there once on the schedule, so it's not a track that we race quite as much. I'm not quite as accustomed to Kansas, but I do like the mile and a halves. So I'm sure we'll be solid. I think we had some pretty good success at Kansas last year, so it'll just be about getting in the car and getting some seat time.
All right, well, definitely thanks for your time, Patrick. Congratulations on the victory. Started first, finished first, so definitely a fantastic run for you here tonight. It definitely seemed like you were overall the best car for sure. Who can we give a shout-out to after this victory here tonight at the Monster Mile?
First off, you guys in the booth, thanks for calling the race. Shout out to Kenny for running the league. I mean, this league, I feel like I can always count on green flag runs in this league, and it really lets us show off the long run pace that we've got in these races, so I appreciate that. Shout out to Matt and Derek for bringing him to podium. Sweet, that was awesome. They all had a good race tonight. Shout out to Conti for building the A-car sets. He does phenomenal work and is really supportive, so I appreciate him. And then Martin PC, Seminary Designs. I think that about does it, so appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks for your time, Patrick. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
All righty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. Fantastic performance from him tonight for sure. All the Team Conti gang. I mean, 1, 2, 3, they have been just definitely dominating this season. I think they're definitely kicking the rest of the field in the rear end to get going, that's for sure. And you love to see that competition level here in the ISCA. And what a race it was. I mean, every week we're seeing really awesome green flag runs. Big Al, what are your thoughts here at the end of this race?
These guys usually leave me speechless, man. Once again, who could have predicted that? And yeah, these guys never disappoint. And the caliber of talent, man, week in and week out is just getting stronger. So I'm just excited, man.
Well, JC Evans did predict that we were going to have 4 cautions, so I don't know if we're going to, we'll give him a shout out for that. Definitely. Thanks for your time, JC, for sure. Any final thoughts from you?
It was a nice race tonight. Nice and clean, long green flag rounds. Actually, having that green flag pit stop was a kind of surprise to me a little bit. So I give credit to drivers that got through all that. But other than that, it was nice and clean.
I mean, you can always count on green flag pit stops here in the ISCA. I mean, I think we even had them at Martinsville, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, it happens at tracks you don't think it's going to happen at, but definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in for sure. Make sure you tune in next week, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be at Kansas Motor Speedway. Of course, the green flag itself is going to fly at 9:30 p.m., a little after that, actually, and I think we're going to see some awesome racing there. That place always puts on some fantastic racing. Usually it's a top groove type of track, especially on the longer runs. We'll see though, because I mean the bottom can be used to kind of save tires late in the run. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. Who's going to bring the best setup? Definitely looking forward to seeing it for sure. Of course, want to give a big shout out to Kenny Powell for running this series. I mean, awesome racing week in and week out. Want to give a big shout out to Kobe Jordan for always doing a fantastic job bringing the awesome camera angles and doing all the awesome producer work. Of course, want to shout out Big Al as well for being my partner in crime, the best partner in crime I can ask for, that's for sure. Of course, also want to shout out JC Evans for helping us out in the booth here tonight. My name is Brian Britt. We'll see you next time. This has been the ISCA Super Cup Series. See you later.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, you know, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. You know, B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick